St. Thomas, and 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James. Serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on YouTube and Nationwide 90 FM Live too. RevoNews.ai and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
Put your money in motion. Drive VMW, VM Wealth Management. Transform your everyday.
The time by VM Wealth Management is
6 o'clock. From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning. Good morning, I'm Tawna Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Monday, October 27, 2025. Hurricane Melissa strengthens to Category 5. Schools and airports closed as island braces for Melissa's impact. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says all necessary steps have been taken to secure the island ahead of the passage of Hurricane Melissa. In regional news, U.S. warship docks in Trinidad and Tobago for joint military operations. In international news, Donald Trump gets royal welcome in Japan as part of his Asia tour. In sports, West Indies to face Bangladesh in the first game of their 3-match T20 International Series later on Monday. And in business, U.S. and China have reached a framework agreement on trade ahead of Trump-Xi meeting. The details after the break.
Mysterious, magical, mesmerizing. Wouldn't you like to experience the natural beauty of the Northern Lights? You could be the lucky one if you use your cards right. Spend with your Sagicor Bank credit card from September 29 to November 13, 2025, and you could win an all-inclusive cruise vacation for 2 along the Norwegian coast to see the Northern Lights. Chase the Northern Lights with your Sagicor Bank credit card. The more you spend it, the closer you are to your dream adventure. Enjoy the best rewards ever. Conditions apply. Authorized by the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Hurricane Melissa is now a Category 5 storm. It's expected to make landfall in southwestern Jamaica as a powerful hurricane early on Tuesday. The 5 a.m. bulletin from the Met Service says additional strengthening is forecast Monday, with some fluctuations in intensity likely before landfall. At 4 a.m., the center of Hurricane Melissa was located 130 miles south-southwest of Kingston, or 104 miles south of Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth. It was moving toward the west near 3 miles per hour. The Met Service says a slow turn toward the northwest and north is expected throughout today, followed by a northeastward acceleration beginning on Tuesday. Maximum sustained winds have increased to near 160 miles per hour with higher gusts. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 30 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 195 miles. Data from Jamaica's Doppler radar show that the outer bands of Hurricane Melissa have been moving over mainly southern and eastern sections of the island since Sunday evening. They have been producing periods of light to moderate rainfall. Hurricane Melissa is expected to produce rainfall amounts of between 15 to 30 inches over parts of the island in the next couple of days, particularly over central and eastern parishes. Higher amounts are expected over hilly terrain. The Met Service says catastrophic Flash floods and landslides are likely. Life-threatening storm surge accompanied by large and destructive waves is likely along the south coast of Jamaica tonight and on Tuesday, peaking at 9 to 13 feet above ground level near and to the east of where the center of Melissa makes landfall. Small craft operators, including fishers on the Keys and Banks, are strongly advised to remain in safe harbor until all warning messages have been lifted and wind and sea conditions have returned to normal. All schools across the island are closed until further notice. This in light of the impending impact of Hurricane Melissa and the use of several school facilities as emergency shelters. The Ministry of Education made the announcement in a release Sunday night. The ministry is urging the school community to remain aware of their surroundings, heed local advisories, and prepare for the possibility of adverse weather conditions. Where schools are designated as shelters, administrators are urged to support the national crisis response effort by allowing access to critical areas. They are urged, however, to secure important documents and educational materials and resources. Meanwhile, the ministry says it will communicate a new deadline for the payment of fees for external exams. All three of the country's international airports are closed due to the impending impact of Hurricane Melissa. The Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston ceased operations following the final incoming flight on Saturday, October 25, while the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James, closed at midday on Sunday, October 26. Ian Fleming International Airport in St. Mary was closed last Wednesday. Minister of Transport Darrell Vaz informed that 11 outbound flights from Montego Bay were facilitated prior to the closure of Sangster Airport. And Minister Vaz says the rural school buses have been mobilized to assist in evacuation of residents in vulnerable areas as Hurricane Melissa nears the island.
As of this evening, Sunday, the 26th of October, we have commissioned into use the rural school buses that are in every parish, specifically rural parishes, to assist with the recommended evacuations by ODPEM. 5 already have been mobilized for St. Elizabeth, specifically for Great Bay, Treasure Beach, and other areas, and others will be ready to mobilize for evacuation activities between now and when the hurricane hits. I am pleading with the persons who will be using them to do so with care, as we will require them for the school children as soon as school reopens.
The minister says buses are strategically placed across the island to effect a swift evacuation once the order has been given.
We currently have in excess of 60 buses positioned in all the parishes, and therefore we will move them according to the requirements. It is expected that once the hurricane reaches closer, mandatory evacuation by the government will be imposed, which will mean that we will have to move very quickly in relation to areas that have been ordered to be evacuated. Again, I plead to every Jamaican, do not gamble with Melissa. You cannot win. Follow the instructions and recommendations of the government of Jamaica, as we have your safety as priority. God bless you and God bless Jamaica.
Darrell Vaz, Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says all necessary steps have been taken to secure the island ahead of the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Dr. Holness gave an update on preparations late last evening outside the office of the Prime Minister.
We have issued an order under the Disaster Risk Management Act declaring the entire island of Jamaica a threatened area. This provides us with the legal framework to take all necessary measures to safeguard lives and property during the hurricane. All our national agencies, ODPEM, the JDF, the JCF, the NWA, and our first responders are on high alert. Shelters have been prepared, supplies pre-positioned, and emergency teams are standing by across the island. At the time of impact, the government will declare a disaster under the DRMA, along with the various other measures necessary from time to time to take us safely through the periods of disaster, relief, and recovery.
As many Jamaicans continue their own preparations, the Prime Minister reminded the country that mandatory evacuation orders have already been issued for several high-risk areas. The mandatory evacuation applies to Port Royal in Kingston, Portland Cottage and Rocky Point in Clarendon, Old Harbour Bay in St. Catherine, Taylorland in Bull Bay, St. Andrew, New Haven in St. Andrew, and Riverton City also in St. Andrew. Dr. Holness says orders have also been issued to prevent potential price gouging by businesses seeking to take advantage of last-minute shoppers.
Today, I signed a compulsory evacuation order for several communities along the South Coast, which will empower ODPEM to act as necessary to have persons evacuated from high-risk areas to save lives. We have also issued an order under the Trade Act to prevent price gouging. No one should seek to profit from the hardship of a disaster. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining will be issuing a recommended price list for all market produce. We have intensified our drain cleaning and mitigation programs across the island, targeting critical areas that are most vulnerable to flooding. Over 400 million Jamaican dollars has so far been allocated for drain cleaning and waterway cleanup, including at least $3 million to each constituency to carry out emergency drain cleaning and local preparedness.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Holness says steps are being taken to prepare the country for a speedy recovery.
In addition to preparing the country for the impact of the hurricane, we are also taking steps to position ourselves for the recovery following impact. The security forces will ensure there is no break in public order during and after the hurricane. We will take all steps under the law to protect life and property from looting and other antisocial behavior. We urge all citizens to maintain the peace, observe the laws and various orders that may be issued, and act wisely in limiting movement and gatherings to what is necessary.
Dr. Holness reminded the nation of the multi-layered disaster response that will provide monetary support following the storm.
Your government has built out a comprehensive multi-layered disaster risk financing framework to ensure that we can respond quickly and effectively. We have the National Natural Disaster Risk Fund and the Contingency Fund, which we will use to start the relief and recovery process. Beyond these, there are additional layers of insurance protection that are triggered once specific impact thresholds are met, along with contingent credit facilities. The NWA, JDF, NSWMA, local governments and our utilities are all prepared to reopen roads, restore access and reinstate service to ensure a quick recovery. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security, supported by the JDF, is fully prepared to lead the humanitarian relief effort and the data gathering for damage assessment.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Member of Parliament for West St. Thomas, James Robertson, says there are areas in his constituency already cut off due to flooding and land slippage. He was speaking with Nationwide News on Sunday.
I already have young, strong individuals who are driving four-wheel drive vehicles, and they just called to say, Sir Robertson, we're coming down from Hagley's Gap. We don't believe anybody can come down after that. The fording is almost impossible. So, you know that song, You Can't Cross It? That will be taking place as we speak now. So technically, if we have a health issue or crisis from Penline, Min to Hagley's Gap, Kerrick Hill, Nestcastle, Albion Mountain, all of that area, about 10 districts are possibly technically already marooned. They're cut off. I wouldn't be able to go in now unless it's by helicopter. JDF will not fly in this weather. So technically speaking, we do have areas that are already marooned.
Robertson says the conditions are already concerning as the country awaits the full brunt of the hurricane.
I don't know what took place. We see where a lot of water has crossed the road. We didn't expect that, and this is early day. You're expecting 10 inches of rain, 15 inches of rain. We're seeing what you see, 30 inches of rain. That's frightening. I don't think we've had 2 inches of rain yet, and we're seeing issues that are of concern. So it's not easy.
James Robertson, Member of Parliament for West St. Thomas. Councillor for the Rocky Point Division in Clarendon, Winston Mirage, says over 100 residents have gone into shelters.
I've been on the road from morning along with Member of Parliament, Colonel Charles Jr. We have been evacuating people from the communities of Rocky Point, Portland Cottage so far. We're trying to reach out to the other communities, and so we have some JUTC buses that have been transporting people. We're taking them up to the Weir Technical High School in Hayes. When I left Weir Technical just now, we had 120-something people there. And more have been trickling in. They're coming on their own if they miss the bus, and so on. We're going to send back the buses in a little while. And what happened is that we have also at the Bustamante High School in Larnell Town, we had some 30 people there, and they're trickling in as well. At the Portland Cottage Primary School, that's on a hill, that's an elevated part of the community.
Yes.
So when I was leaving there, we had 40-something people there.
Rocky Point and Portland Cottage in Clarendon are considered high-risk communities. The areas are prone to flooding during adverse weather. Councillor Mirage said on Sunday in Portland Cottage the tide was already rising in the seaside community.
The wind that started, as I noticed in Portland Cottage, we have that area which is called refer to it as Salt Pond, and the water was rising that area. It's where the tide goes in and out. But when I was leaving there at 2 o'clock, the tide was on par with the main road.
Winston Mirage, councillor for the Rocky Point Division, speaking with Nationwide News on Sunday. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:16.
Decorate like a designer with BH Paints. The temperature brought to you by BH Paints is
26 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, also 26 out west in Montego Bay, and in Mandeville, 22 degrees Celsius.
Since 1995, we've been your go-to source for everything related to billiards, amusement machines, and electronics. With locations at 1A Lindsay Terrace, Kingston 10, and the Village Plaza, Big Bridge, Savannah Lamar, we offer top-quality pool table parts and accessories, cutting-edge gaming machines, and more. We also specialize in assembly, sales, and service of amusement machines. We provide unmatched customer service, expert solutions, and products tailored to your needs. Who are we? We are Eclipse Enterprise. Telephone 876-960-3891. Tracking Hurricane Melissa. Stay with Nationwide 90 FM.
In regional and international news this morning, regional news, a U.S. warship docked in the Trinidad and Tobago capital on Sunday as the Trump administration boosts military pressure on neighboring Venezuela and its president Nicolas Maduro. It's expected to remain docked in Port of Spain until October 30. The countries say the warship, the USS Gravely, is to facilitate joint military training exercises. The arrival of the guided missile destroyer is in addition to the aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford, which is moving closer to Venezuela. President Maduro has criticized the action as an attempt by the U.S. government to fabricate war against his country. President Donald Trump has accused Maduro of being the leader of the organized crime gang Tren de Aragua. He's provided no evidence to support his claim. International, U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday received a royal welcome in Japan, the latest leg of a 5-day Asia trip he hopes will result in a trade war truce with China. Trump, making his longest journey abroad since taking office in January, announced deals with 4 Southeast Asian countries during the first stop in Malaysia. Wearing a gold tie and blue shirt, Trump shook hands with officials on the tarmac and gave a few fist pumps before his helicopter whisked him off for a scenic night tour of Tokyo. His motorcade was later seen entering the Imperial Palace grounds where he met Japanese Emperor Naruhito. Trump has already won a $550 billion investment pledge from Tokyo in exchange for respite from punishing import tariffs. And the newly elected prime minister is reportedly hoping to further impress the U.S. president with promises to purchase U.S. pickup trucks, soybeans, and gas, and an agreement on shipbuilding. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated warm staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy. Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Me grew up and see my granny save her money under her mattress. But at an old time something. That's where I save my money in the bank. And because I want to buy a little house, I also save in a building society. We have to be smart with how we save our money.
So what if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in. Make I tell you something. With the JDIC Deposit Insurance Scheme, once you save your money in a commercial bank, merchant bank, or building society, your deposit is covered up to a maximum of $1.2 million per depositor per financial institution if the institution fails. All the information that you need is available at jdic.org, and you can follow their social media platform for more information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Time now for your morning sports. We bowl off with some cricket news. In about 40 minutes from now, the West Indies will face Bangladesh in Chattogram in the first game of their three-match T20 International Series. The West Indies are still smarting from defeat in the one-day internationals and want to get their preparation for next year's World Cup final back on track. The Caribbean team has only won 5 of their last 25 games. The squad is expected to be strengthened by the arrival of former captains Jason Holder and Rovman Powell. However, Captain Shai Hope, while welcoming the inclusion of Powell and Holder, says nothing but a total team effort will suffice.
Names look like on paper is about the performances that you put up there. So regardless of the big household names that we would have in our squad, we know exactly what they can do. So it's just about being more consistent with those performances. And we just got to ensure that our bowlers are doing better than from the ODI series. And then as all the batters click, I'm sure you're going to have a very good series as a team.
West Indies white ball captain Shai Hope. The game is scheduled to bowl off at 7 a.m. England captain Harry Brook produced another batting masterclass in New Zealand, but it was in vain as the Kiwis registered a 4-wicket win in the first one-day international at the Bay Oval on Sunday. Brook clobbered 135 with 9 fours and 11 sixes to steer England to 223 all out in the 36th over. Jamie Overton was the next best scorer with 46 against Zach Fuchs for 4 for 41 and Jacob Duffy 3 for 55. The Kiwis responded with 224 for 6 in the 37 overs. Daryl Mitchell 78 not out and Michael Bracewell 51 run out made most runs. Bryden Cars claimed 3 for 46 bowling for England. Finally, in your morning sports, Arsenal moved 4 points clear atop the English Premier League standings on Sunday after beating Crystal Palace 1-0 at the Emirates. Eberechi Eze scored in the 39th minute as the Gunners moved to 22 points, while Palace dropped to 10th. Tottenham are up to 3rd, following a 3-0 win over Everton, who are losing for the first time at their new stadium. In other games, Matty Cash scored a stunner for Aston Villa to beat Manchester City 1-0 at Villa Park. Bournemouth tagged Nottingham Forest 2-0 to go second, while Burnley stopped Wolverhampton Wanderers 3-2. And that's it for your morning sports.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today. Tracking Hurricane Melissa. Stay with Nationwide 90 FM.
In business this morning, the U.S. and China have agreed the framework of a potential trade deal that will be discussed when their respective leaders meet later this week. That's according to the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Bessent told the BBC's U.S. news partner CBS that this included a final deal on TikTok's U.S. operations and a deferral on China's tightened rare earth minerals controls. He also said he did not anticipate the 100% tariff on Chinese goods threatened by President Donald Trump coming into force, while China will resume substantial soybean purchases from the U.S. Both nations are seeking to avoid further escalation in a trade war between the world's two largest economies. Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping are due to hold talks on Thursday in South Korea. The bosses of Britain's biggest supermarkets have warned food prices could rise even further if higher taxes are imposed on the sector. Grocers including Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's and Morrisons signed a letter to Chancellor Rachel Reeves ahead of her budget next month, along with Aldi, Iceland, Waitrose and M&S. They claimed households would inevitably feel the impact of any potential tax increases on the industry, such as higher business rates for supermarkets. The Treasury said tackling food price inflation was a priority and said it was lowering business rates for butchers, bakers, and other shops. In their letter to the Chancellor, supermarket bosses said if the industry was to face higher taxes, its ability to deliver value for customers will become even more challenging, and it will be households who inevitably feel the impact. They warned that given the costs currently falling on the industry, including from the last budget, high food inflation is likely to persist in 2026. And finally, in business this morning, a British multinational universal bank, Barclays PLC, is returning to Saudi Arabia after an 11-year absence. Barclays announced it was expanding its business in Saudi Arabia as the group continues to strengthen its presence in the Middle East. It has received a provisional Capital Market Authority license, paving the way for the bank to commence investment banking and global markets activities in Saudi Arabia once the license is fully active. It says this significant milestone underscores the bank's investment in the kingdom and commitment to the region. And that's it for business this morning.
Protecting your personal data is a priority for the Jamaica Customs Agency. We urge you to use the agency's official platforms to conduct your business. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
6:30.
Every school is free of unhealthy, ultra-processed products. You know, those high in salt, fats, and sugar. If only that weren't a dream. The reality is that many children have an unhealthy diet at school, and 23% of them are overweight or obese. This can lead to hypertension, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Let's protect our children's right to health with a policy for schools that prevents unhealthy food marketing and ensures access to nutritious foods. The time is now. Let's implement the National School Nutrition Policy. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Spring into style with Unique Living. Upgrade your home with our extensive range of products. Get sleek shower panels, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, plus kitchen sinks, closet solutions, ceiling fans, and more. Available in various finishes and sizes. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit our website at www.uniquelivingja.com. Don't wait to spring into style with Unique Living.
Tracking Hurricane Melissa. Stay with Nationwide 90 FM.
The rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yeah, we wept when we remembered Zion. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yeah, we wept when we remembered
morning, good morning, good morning to you. You are tuned in to Nationwide This Morning, NTM. Thank you so much for coming on over and joining us this Monday morning. It is Monday, October 27, 2025. I'm Tawna Thomas.
Good morning, Tawna. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, viewers. My name is George.
Good morning to you, George.
What a go on.
I'm here.
You tired? Already?
Not yet.
Are you not tired yet?
No, not yet.
You were here yesterday.
Yeah. We have to trooper. It's a special time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so. Are you and your family
Everything
all
good.
secured?
Everything's secure.
Okay.
Everything's secure. Can't
Yeah.
complain about a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not looking good on the images that we've been seeing. It's not looking good on the outside.
Mhm.
The sea is miserable right now. We're going to give you some shots of the Kingston Harbor later. Saw
The winds
Oh,
picking
yeah.
up,
Yeah, man.
whistling.
I thought a big breeze, that bigger than big breeze.
Yeah.
Huge. The place just shakes when the gust of wind picks up.
Mhm.
One of my neighbors had a canopy for one of his cars, and it collapsed spectacularly early. Everybody had to, I saw people looking from their windows at the noise, and it was just a little gust.
Yeah.
Nothing too tough. Yeah. So I can just well imagine when things get really, really nasty later today into tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday I was on my way here to assist with some air mattresses. And I counted driving on East Street from, you come at Hero Circle and you turn left at the Ministry of Education and you come down East Street. From the top of East Street down to the intersection with East Queen Street, I counted 4 homeless persons. And before that, there was one at the stoplight at the intersection of right before you turn onto the intersection of Arthur Wint Drive and Tom Redcombe Drive, right at that stoplight. A youngish looking fellow sitting, looking isolated in the wind and the rain. So he was one, and then there were 4 on that drive down from the top of East Street down to the intersection of East Queen Street. And I said to myself, well, there are many people who will blame the authorities for these people being out there,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing that the authorities have been making every effort to get them off the road. And for whatever reason, when you are not well mentally, you struggle to see reason. And I'm certain that that is the case with those individuals who the KSAMC and the other authorities would have reached out to say, come take some shelter until this blow over, or take some shelter and while you're with us, we can start a process to help you to get back to where you were before you were out on the streets. And social media is a place I'm afraid of, Yeah, it's a place where the idiot and the dunce are kings and savants, wise men and women, typing away furiously every day. I see where the authorities are being pilloried for those persons homeless who are still on the streets. Heard Ricardo talking to you yesterday in a report about one gentleman strolling in the Port Royal area? Palisades, right. And Ricardo was, struggling to describe the shack that he had built in the rocks. It is one of the difficulties and one of the tragedies. For me, every time it rains, not even in a situation as serious as this, but every time it rains, I think of homeless people. Wherever I am, I think of, them people who are out on the road and can't enjoy the shelter, the warmth, the comfort that I can.
Yeah.
Or many Jamaicans, the overwhelming majority of Jamaicans can. There are some of us who, and you can imagine now with the wind and the frightening nature of what is to come. And there are still people out there. And you can't, Robert Hill, the town clerk, or Andrew Swaby, the mayor of Kingston, can't go out there with some strong men and grab them and throw them into a vehicle and go lock them up somewhere.
And they said just that in their statement yesterday, George, because they did issue a statement in response to what people have been saying on social media. And they said they have no legal authority to forcibly remove anybody from public spaces. They have to go out there, they have to be compassionate, talk to them, implore them, and see if they'll be receptive to what they're saying about the system that's coming.
Yeah.
But them can't take them up, as you said, and
can't
throw them
force.
in a van or a bus or anything like that.
Can't force
You'd
it,
have the
remove
same social media people. Somebody would perhaps capture it on video, and the same social media people would come and cuss the authorities about how they're handling the homeless.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, this social media. I've seen some things. I've seen one woman saying, this is payback for what happened on September 3. So Jamaica voted in the wrong party, and God is taking revenge for the election result, and this is the recompense. Ah, boy. Anyway, drains. Already, people are talking about drains. Well, people have been talking about drains since last week. We've been having consistently heavy rain over the past 3 or more weeks. And so, one would expect that the local authorities, now this is why you have a councillor, yeah? This is why you have a local disaster committee dovetailing with the member of parliament to ensure that at the local level, these things, bread and butter things, are sorted out. Drains are cleaned, waterways are clear. But let me say something about drains. I saw a video yesterday of a place in Nago Head, where the water channels, I wouldn't even call them drains, but call them water channels, but call them drains if you must, overgrown with vegetation. And people were complaining about the fact that it wasn't clean. That's one. Then, of course, we saw that image yesterday of a part of the Sandy Gully, near to where it empties into the sea, and the overgrown state of, the vegetation overgrown there. And I say that for those who are lining up to say that flooding happened somewhere because the drains were not clean, I say, yes, there are drains that are not clean, and I've seen them. I just mentioned 2. But think about it with common sense. A clean drain is not a static reality. Meaning, if you clean the drain now and water come, the drain now will remain clean and clear, because the water is carrying debris. There's something you learned in geography class, in maybe about as early as grade 8, second form. They call it deposition, where the water moves some solid object from one part and deposits it somewhere else. That's what water does. So all of the debris, the construction material, the garbage, the this, the that, a clean drain suddenly becomes a clogged drain in heavy rain. That's what happens. So you could clean the drain today, and because of deposition, it moves material in the water channel. And because of the volume of solid material, the drain gets clogged. And what happens? The drain breaches its boundaries. And the other thing is this. There is no waterway, there is no one drain anywhere that can stand up to the volume of water that comes with the volume of water that we're expecting, 25 to 30 inches of rain. So when a drain is flooded, it means it escapes its walls, and then it floods the areas around it, alongside it. That's what happens. So drains get overwhelmed. So don't say that, somewhere gets flooded and it's automatically, the drain never clean. It's not a stat. You clean the drain now, and it rains for 2 days. A lot of refuse, a lot of solid objects will deposit in the drain and cause it to breach its banks. That said, the authorities know the danger drains. The councillors looking at you, even before I look at the members of parliament. You have to earn your corn. Those parish disaster committees, you have to come together. And there's still time to do some clearing, even as the hour draws near when Melissa touches down on this island, Jamaica. Look, we've been here before. I don't think, well, not even I don't think, I'm certain this country has never prepared for a hurricane like we have prepared for this one. Back in Gilbert, I was a wee lad. I had to be lifted by my granny to look through the window to see what was happening. We never had the benefit of the technology we do now to be tracking hourly various models and everything else. We never knew what Gilbert had in store. And Gilbert didn't pack a punch. It gave us a ratted lick, for which the country, there are still parts of Jamaica that you look in the hinterlands, you see the evidence of what Gilbert did. You remember, it may have been last year, early on, when we showed that Gilbert film in the newsroom in production meeting, and the place was stunned into silence as the young'uns saw what happened. And those who said, I want to experience a hurricane just for the experience, that narrative changed that day. This is set to be worse. I saw a video yesterday of champion racehorse trainer Anthony Nunes, almost brought to tears as he was preparing for Melissa. And he recalled when he was an assistant trainer to his brother, Andrew, in 1988, September, when Gilbert came. And he said, as he spoke to his subscribers on YouTube, he said, look, every stable at Caymanas Park lost its roof. Horses died in their stalls. The place was leveled. And that was a category 3. Category 5, the man took off his glasses and he took several deep breaths. And you could see the emotion as he fretted about the horses under his charge. And not just him, but for the other people. And those of you who will sneer, Caymanas Park is one of the largest employers in Jamaica. Thousands of people. So you're talking about livelihoods that are hinged on the survival of the racing industry and the kernel, the building block of the racing industry, which is the racehorses. But that's just to show you, he was preparing. He says, look, we're as prepared as we can be. He said about 12 of his staff were sleeping at the stable because they had rooms that they were occupying just to be close enough to a help. And he says Gilbert leveled Caymanas Park as a category 3. Melissa will make Gilbert look like a man or a woman washing their face on a regular morning. So you can imagine what will come. So we band together. We dig in for the long haul. We be our brother's keeper more now than ever before. We halt the propagandizing. We surrender politicking. And we focus on helping Jamaica. This is a time for heroes. This is a time for work. This is a time for collaboration. This is a time for being neighborly. This is not the time to snipe. This is the time to help. This is the time to pray. More important than anything else, this is the time for doing. Don't wish that you could help. Assist everywhere you can. Heed the warnings. Treat this thing very, very seriously. Have your fun on social media. But good God, don't circulate the images you know are misleading or false because you want people to like up your page or to follow you. Never seen something I hate so much. Yeah? But Jamaica, your country needs you from this day forth until we come through this thing, whenever that is. Yeah, all hands needed on deck.
The Pink Run, a corporate wellness challenge, encourages physical activity, healthy eating, and age-appropriate health checks. Remember, early detection saves lives. The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is
6:49.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
26 degrees Celsius in both Kingston and Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated One staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy.
Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
Already have a T-Tag for your vehicle? Just top it up and go through. Now you can see funds in your T-Tag account almost immediately after topping up. So if you're already on your journey, you can safely pull off the road and top up using the My T-Tag app or WhatsApp, or ask your passenger to do it for you. And within 5 to 10 minutes, you can enjoy the lower toll rates and other benefits of the T-Tag lane. Even if you forget to top up before you started your trip, top up your T-Tag and continue to go through quicker and cheaper on Transjam highways.
Time now for Street Smarts 1 with Ludlow McLean. And one thing we are sure of, there is no traffic on the streets this morning.
Hey to you, Ludlow.
Hold on. Morning, George. Morning, Tony. You sure there's no traffic?
Yes, sir. 100%.
There are cars on the street. But
we never said there are not cars. We said there is no traffic. Well, my friend, what's up? What's up?
Well, it has been overcast, and we see some areas here they don't have rain, but I know certain areas out in the east there's some rain there, and coming into Kingston there's rain also, and a few cars on the road, not seeing any heavy pools of water yet. But I don't know what it is shaping like, and there's a bit concern about some of the gullies. I don't know how they will hold up. But in so far as I'm not seeing anyone really walking, I hear talk about street people. So far I have not seen any. And then the way they have gone through, I heard yesterday they were talking about one on the Palisades Street there yesterday, and but so far it's so good. I see a lot of gas stations closed with what they call those flyboards they use to batten up and all of that. So far, it's not much activities, you know. When it was what they call the other one there, the last one, Daryl, I felt a little of the wind while I was in the New Kingston area there, but so far it's not windy, just normal conditions, and one and two cars moving around. Some people are still at there was a gas station called Boots, and that's right at the corner of Dunrobin. There's some number of vehicles there still trying to get stuff, maybe candles and food stuff, right at the corner of Dunrobin and Constantine. Do you know that gas station, Boots, B-O-O-T?
Yes, Lord, yes, man.
They have another section in Ocho.
Not Ocho's, Draxall.
Yes. Right. So,
when the told people of mislead the people. Troubling him, man. You know, Lord, I want to use the opportunity, Lord, as you mentioned homeless people, to just appeal to the Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, again, and the Town Clerk, a good man, Robert Hill, to, if you can, send your team just to make one last sweep of the corporate area for those homeless persons that I spoke to you about. That young man, he sits Ludlow right at the intersection of Tom Redcombe and Arthur Wint Drive. From where he sits, he can look at Little Theatre easily. So he's there, and then there are about 4 more elderly men on all the way down East Street. So just make a one last sweep and see if you can convince them to come in. That would be good. I know you've tried already, but see if you can make one last effort. Robert Hill, Mayor Swaby.
And 2 ladies in Halfway Tree as well.
So there you go.
There used to be a lady at the corner of Washington, Waymouth Drive and Washington Boulevard, right at that intersection.
In the day, she's on the Weymouth Drive, and at the night, she's at the Boulevard intersection.
Let's go, Lolo. Marie Love says boot in Ochi2, it's in White River, and she's right. Yeah, just before you reach hand to mouth. Yeah, so there you go. All right. Thank you, Lolo, for the first report. We'll check in we'll check in with you at 7:20.
Your word of the day is spelled Q-A-N-A-T, spelled Q-A-N-A-T.
Cannot. Cannot. Cannot.
Cannot is your word of the day. It's a noun and it means an underground aqueduct in the Middle East or North Africa through which water flows downhill from an aquifer or well to the surface. Cannot is your word of the day. An underground aqueduct in the Middle East or North Africa through which water flows downhill from an aquifer or aquifer or well to the surface. And to use cannot in a sentence, let's see, this particular cannot is at the heart of the largest water source in Saudi Arabia. That's your word of the day, spelled Q-A-N-A-T, cannot. Up next, your features. At the top of the hour, the news.
Living Well is brought to you by the New Walters Pharmacy, Black River, St. Elizabeth. Everything exceptional.
Today on Living Well, trans fat. I am sure that almost everyone at some point in their adult life have heard this word trans fat. You have heard that it is bad for you, and you've heard to buy products that are zero trans fat. Today we're going to find out what trans fat is, and is there really such a thing as zero trans fat? Trans fats, also known as trans-unsaturated fatty acids and trans fatty acids, are a type of unsaturated fat. They're not widely available from natural sources, but have been industrially produced on a large scale from vegetable fats since midway through the 20th century. They are commonly used in margarine, snack foods, and commercially baked or fried foods, and have been linked to increased risk of coronary heart disease, which is the most common cause of mortality worldwide. What is the chemical structure of trans fat? On a molecular level, all fats are made of long hydrocarbon chains. The bonds between each carbon atom can either be singular or double, known as saturated and unsaturated respectively. Unsaturated fatty acids can either have a cis or a trans configuration, which relates to the positioning of the atoms around the double bonds and affects the properties of the fat. In nature, only cis fat is abundant, whereas trans fat may be present in commercially produced fats. This occurs when cis unsaturated fats are hydrogenated to remove the double bonds and become saturated fats with more favorable properties. However, some cis bonds are converted to trans bonds. Small amounts of trans fats can be found in nature as vacinyl and conjugated linoleal, which are often present in meat and dairy products. However, trans fats that occur naturally are seen separately to those produced artificially in commercial processes, and the health effects of natural trans fats have yet to be established. Trans fats offer no health benefits whatsoever and is only used to make foods more solid and in some cases increase shelf life. Many processed foods will say that they have zero trans fats. However, this is not the case. Unfortunately, even here in Jamaica, the standard of manufacturing processed foods that have trans fats is based on U.S. standards. This will also include imported processed foods. Food processing standards for additives such as trans fats are set by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The standards set say that any food that has 0.5% trans fat per serving can be considered as having zero trans fat. However, here is the problem. If a food item has, say, 7 servings, then you will exceed the 2.5% recommended threshold for trans fat consumption. If you do this week in and week out, you are headed for trouble. You should avoid all processed food, and if you cannot for whatever reason, then read your labels and limit your servings. Eating a fresh whole food diet is the only way to optimize your nutrition and avoid the pitfalls of processed foods. That's Living Well for today. Tune in next time for one of the main causes of hip pain.
Living Well was brought to you by the New Walters Pharmacy, Black River, St. Elizabeth. everything exceptional.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
Many people don't seem to care that they have no table manners and that they are like pigs around a dining table. This is Lifestyle Pages on restaurant etiquette. Having good table manners is more desirable than behaving and eating like a pig, especially when in public. It is always a good idea when you are seated at your table to look at your waiter or waitress to know and to remember their face. Never ask, "Are you our waiter or waitress?" and ask this more than once. How would you feel if you were in his or her position? So make it a cardinal rule to know your waiter or waitress in a restaurant. Ask any questions you need to ask about the food items or that are on the menu that you may not know or are not familiar with. I'm Valerie, and those were Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Jamaica, let's make road safety a priority. Slow down, stay focused. Remember, every life matters. The time brought to you by the JIS is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore, Kingston Normal Bay. The temperature by National Supply is...
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 today, Monday, October 27, 2025, Hurricane Melissa strengthens to Category 5. Schools and airports closed as the island braces for Melissa. Prime Minister Holness says the government has taken the necessary precaution to ensure or to secure the island ahead of the passage of Hurricane Melissa. And in international news, Trump gets royal welcome in Japan as part of his Asia tour.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Hurricane Melissa is now a Category 5 storm. It's expected to make landfall in southwestern Jamaica as a powerful hurricane early on Tuesday. The 5 a.m. bulletin from the Met Service says additional strengthening is forecast on Monday, with some fluctuations in intensity likely before landfall. At 4 a.m., the center of Hurricane Melissa was located 130 miles south-southwest of Kingston, or 104 miles south of Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth. It was moving toward the west near 3 miles per hour. The Met Service says a slow turn toward the northwest and north is expected throughout the day, followed by a northeastward acceleration beginning on Tuesday. Maximum sustained winds have increased to near 160 miles per hour with higher gusts. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 30 miles from the center, and the tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 195 miles. Data from Jamaica's Doppler radar show that the outer bands of Hurricane Melissa have been moving over mainly southern and eastern sections of the island since Sunday evening. They have been producing periods of light to moderate rainfall. Hurricane Melissa is said to produce rainfall amounts of between 15 and 30 inches over parts of the island in the next couple of days, particularly over central and eastern parishes. Higher amounts are expected over hilly terrain. The Met Service says catastrophic flash floods and landslides are likely. Life-threatening storm surge accompanied by large and destructive waves is likely along the south coast of Jamaica tonight and on Tuesday, peaking at up to 13 feet above ground level near and to the east of where the center of Melissa makes landfall. Small craft operators, including fishers on the quays and the banks, are strongly advised to remain in safe harbor until all warning messages have been lifted and wind and sea conditions have returned to normal. All schools across the island are closed until further notice. This in light of the impending impact of Hurricane Melissa and the use of several school facilities as emergency shelters. The Ministry of Education made the announcement in a statement on Sunday night. It's urging the school community to remain aware of their surroundings, heed local advisories, and prepare for the possibility of adverse weather conditions. Where schools are designated as shelters, administrators are urged to support the national crisis response effort by allowing access to critical areas. They are urged, however, to secure important documents and educational materials and resources. Meanwhile, the ministry says it will communicate a new deadline for the payment of fees for external exams. All three of the country's international airports are closed due to the impending impact of Hurricane Melissa. Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston ceased operations following the final incoming flight on Saturday, October 25, while Sangster International in Montego Bay, St. James closed at midday on Sunday, October 26. Ian Fleming International in St. Mary was closed last Wednesday. Minister of Transport Daryl Vaz informed that 11 outbound flights from Montego Bay were facilitated prior to the closure of Sangster International. And Minister Vaz says the rural school buses have been mobilized to assist in evacuating residents in vulnerable areas as Hurricane Melissa bears down on the island.
As of this evening, Sunday the 26th of October, we have commissioned into use the rural school buses that are in every parish, specifically rural parishes, to assist with the recommended evacuations by ODPEM. 5 already have been mobilized for St. Elizabeth, specifically for Great Bay, Treasure Beach and other areas, and others will be ready to mobilize for evacuation activities between now and when the hurricane hits. I am pleading with the persons who will be using them to do so with care, as we will require them for the school children as soon as school reopens.
The minister says buses are strategically placed across the island to effect swift evacuation once the order has been given.
We currently have in excess of 60 buses positioned in all the parishes, and therefore we will move them according to the requirements. It is expected that once the hurricane reaches closer, mandatory evacuation by the government will be imposed, which will mean that we will have to move very quickly in relation to areas that have been ordered to be evacuated. Again, I plead to every Jamaican, do not gamble with Melissa. You cannot win. Follow the instructions and recommendations of the government of Jamaica, as we have your safety as priority. God bless you and God bless Jamaica.
Daryl Vaz, Transport Minister. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says all necessary steps have been taken to secure the island ahead of the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Dr. Holness gave an update on preparations late last evening outside the office of the Prime Minister.
We have issued an order under the Disaster Risk Management Act declaring the entire island of Jamaica a threatened area. This provides us with the legal framework to take all necessary measures to safeguard lives and property during the hurricane. All our national agencies, ODPEM, the JDF, the JCF, the NWA, and our first responders are on high alert. Shelters have been prepared, supplies pre-positioned, and emergency teams are standing by across the island. At the time of impact, the government will declare a disaster under the DRMA, along with the various other measures necessary from time to time to take us safely through the periods of disaster, relief, and recovery.
As many Jamaicans continue their own preparations, the Prime Minister reminded the country that mandatory evacuation orders have already been issued for several high-risk areas. The mandatory evacuation applies to Port Royal in Kingston, Portland Cottage and Rocky Point in Clarendon, Old Harbour Bay in St. Catherine, Taylorland in Bull Bay, St. Andrew, New Haven in St. Andrew, and Riverton City also in St. Andrew. Dr. Holness says orders have also been issued to prevent potential price gouging by businesses seeking to take advantage of last-minute shoppers.
Today, I signed a compulsory evacuation order for several communities along the south coast, which will empower ODPEM to act as necessary to have persons evacuated from high-risk areas to save lives. We have also issued an order under the Trade Act to prevent price gouging. No one should seek to profit from the hardship of a disaster. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining will be issuing a recommended price list for all market produce. We have intensified our drain cleaning and mitigation programs across the island, targeting critical areas that are most vulnerable to flooding. Over 400 million Jamaican dollars has so far been allocated for drain cleaning and waterway cleanup, including at least $3 million to each constituency to carry out emergency drain cleaning and local preparedness.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. And the Prime Minister says steps are being taken to prepare the country for a speedy recovery.
In addition to preparing the country for the impact of the hurricane, we are also taking steps to position ourselves for the recovery following impact. The security forces will ensure there is no break in public order during and after the hurricane. We will take all steps under the law to protect life and property from looting and other antisocial behavior. We urge all citizens to maintain the peace, observe the laws and various orders that may be issued, and act wisely in limiting movement and gatherings to what is necessary.
The Prime Minister is reminding the nation of the multi-layered disaster response that will provide monetary support following the storm.
Your government has built out a comprehensive multi-layered disaster risk financing framework to ensure that we can respond quickly and effectively. We have the National Natural Disaster Risk Fund and the Contingency Fund, which we will use to start the relief and recovery process. Beyond these, there are additional layers of insurance protection that are triggered once specific impact thresholds are met, along with contingent credit facilities. The NWA, JDF, NSWMA, local governments and our utilities are all prepared to reopen roads, restore access and reinstate service to ensure a quick recovery. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security, supported by the JDF, is fully prepared to lead the humanitarian relief effort and the data gathering for damage assessment.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The Member of Parliament for Western St. Thomas, James Robertson, says there are areas in his constituency already cut off due to flooding and land slippage. He was speaking with our news centre on Sunday.
I already have young, strong individuals who are driving four-wheel drive vehicles, and they just called to say, Sir Robertson, we're coming down from Hagley's Gap. We don't believe anybody can come down after that. The fording is almost impossible. So, you know that song, You Can't Cross It? That will be taking place as we speak now. So technically, if we have a health issue or crisis from Penline, Min to Hagley's Gap, Kerrick Hill, Nestcastle, Albion Mountain, all of that area, about 10 districts are possibly technically already marooned. They're cut off. I wouldn't be able to go in now unless it's by helicopter. JDF will not fly in this weather. So technically speaking, we do have areas that are already marooned.
Robertson says the conditions are already concerning as the country awaits the full brunt of Hurricane Melissa.
I don't know what took place. We see where a lot of water has crossed the road. We didn't expect that, and this is early day. You're expecting 10 inches of rain, 15 inches of rain. We're seeing what you see, 30 inches of rain. That's frightening. I don't think we've had 2 inches of rain yet, and we're seeing issues that are of concern. So it's not easy.
James Robertson, the MP for Western St. Thomas. Councillor for the Rocky Point Division in Clarendon, Winston Mirage, says over 100 residents have gone into shelters.
I've been on the road from morning along with Member of Parliament, Colonel Charles Jr. We have been evacuating people from the communities of Rocky Point, Portland Cottage so far. We're trying to reach out to the other communities, and so we have some JUTC buses that have been transporting people. We're taking them up to the Weir Technical High School in Hayes. When I left Weir Technical just now, we had 120-something people there. And more are been trickling in. They're coming on their own if they miss the bus, and so on. We're going to send back the buses in a little while. And what happened is that we have also at the Bustamante High School in Lioneltown, we had some 30 people there, and they're trickling in as well. At the Portland Cottage Primary School, that's on a hill, that's an elevated part of the community.
Yes.
So when I was leaving there, we had 40-something people there.
Rocky Point and the Portland Cottage in Clarendon are considered high-risk communities. The areas are prone to flooding during adverse weather. Councillor Mirage says on Sunday in Portland Cottage the tide was already rising in the seaside community.
The wind that started, as I noticed in Portland Cottage, we have that area which is called refer to it as Salt Pond, and the water was rising that area. It's where the tide goes in and out. But when I was leaving there at 2 o'clock, the tide was on par with the main road.
Winston Mirage, councillor for the Rocky Point Division, speaking with Nationwide News on Sunday. You will be held accountable. That's the warning from local government minister Desmond McKenzie to developers and contractors who've not secured their equipment, materials and work sites ahead of Hurricane Melissa.
I spoke yesterday about the number of cranes, construction cranes, that are left hanging across the corporate area and other sections of the island. Not much has been done since I spoke about it, but I want to advise those persons that they will be held responsible for any damage, loss of life, that those cranes and construction material might contribute to. It is not late to take them down. I am asking those who have up those cranes, right around here in New Kingston, you see them up, still up, making one final appeal.
Desmond McKenzie, local government minister, he was speaking at the National Emergency Operations Center in Kingston on Sunday. His appeal follows a similar appeal by the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA. In a statement, NEPA urged construction personnel to take an inventory of all tools and equipment to ensure their sites are properly cleared and secured to minimize damage and reduce safety risks. There's a story just coming in from the Member of Parliament for South East Clarendon, Pernell Charles Jr., who has issued a last-minute appeal to residents of low-lying areas in the constituency to evacuate now. This as Hurricane Melissa has strengthened to a Category 5 storm. Minister Charles says 3 buses are being dispatched to Portland Cottage and Rocky Point.
I am actually now in Rocky Point, moving over to Portland Cottage. I just want one final appeal to be made to everyone in this area to evacuate. This is not the time for taking any chances. The persons who are in the Portland Cottage shelter, I know that that area is higher ground, but based on what the projections are at a Cat 5, that is not going to save that building. So please, we're sending now 3 more JUTC buses. I just spoke to Mayor Joel Williams. He is right now making the arrangements. We have additional cots going to Veer Technical. We have Buster that's available, and we have Hayes Primary that is also available. You need to get out and you need to get to one of the shelters.
Minister Charles says the time to move is now.
Ensure that all the other persons in the community that you know are also communicated with, they're advised, and they take the necessary action. This is not the time for taking chances or playing stubborn. I heard somebody in the news last night talking about them have them boat, them have to protect them boat, and when the water comes, they're going to use the boat. Listen to me. This is not the hurricane to play around with. So again, please, when the buses come, no argument, no fuss nor fight. Get your documents, the identification documents, your TRN, your medicines, anything else that is essential, and bring them and get out to one of the centers. Thank you.
Pernell Charles Jr., MP for South East Clarendon. One more item of local news before we go. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, says it does not have the legal authority to forcibly remove anyone from public spaces. This in light of public concern about the relocation of homeless persons. In a statement on Sunday evening, the KSAMC reaffirmed its commitment to a rights-based and compassionate approach in all engagements with members of the homeless community. It noted that as the city prepares for the potential impact of Hurricane Melissa, KSAMC personnel supported by relevant agencies have been actively encouraging homeless persons to relocate to designated shelters for their safety. The municipality says these efforts are focused on persuasion, care and respect for human dignity. It says all actions are guided by the directives of the Board of Supervision under the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. It says in situations where an individual poses a danger to themselves or others, or where life-threatening circumstances exist, the KSAMC may escalate the matter to the relevant national authorities in accordance with National Emergency Response and Public Safety Protocols. These authorities include the police and the JDF. The KSAMC says it will continue to work closely with the Poor Relief Department, the Board of Supervision and Emergency Management agencies to ensure the city's most vulnerable residents are protected during this period. Overseas news now. U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday received a royal welcome in Japan, the latest leg of a 5-day Asia trip he hopes will result in a trade war truce with China. Trump, making his longest journey abroad since taking office in January, announced deals with 4 Southeast Asian countries during the first stop in Malaysia. Wearing a gold tie and a blue suit, Trump shook hands with officials on the tarmac and gave a few fist pumps before his helicopter whisked him off for a scenic night tour of Tokyo. His motorcade was later seen entering the Imperial Palace grounds where he met Japanese Emperor Naruhito. Trump has already won a $550 billion investment pledge from Tokyo in exchange for respite from punishing import tariffs. Newly elected Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi is reportedly hoping to further impress the U.S. president with promises to purchase U.S. pickup trucks, soybeans and gas, and an agreement on shipbuilding. That's the news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:20.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Ocho-Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 21 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Educators, it's your summer your way. Let's go! Upgrade your ride with the sweet summer sale from the JTA Cooperative Credit Union.
Educators, take the driver's seat with the sweet summer sale from the JTA Credit Union. Ride in style with a new car or take that well-deserved vacation with a personal loan. Low interest rates, flexible terms, and fast approval. It's your summer your way. For more info, call 876-618-1706.
The sweet summer sale from the JTA Cooperative Credit Union.
Serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated One staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best, because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy.
Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Ludlow, are you there?
Yes, man, I'm here, man.
Earlier in our first connection with you, when we said we were joking with you and we said there was no traffic on the road, one of our teachers in the YouTube chat, Carlene, took us to task, saying that of course there's traffic. There's just no heavy traffic, and she's right in the sense of the word. But in everyday, and you see, this is the thing when we are programmed. The way we speak every day and the way we mean with our words. If someone says traffic is in halfway tree, nobody's going to halfway tree expecting to see 2 cars. You expect to see bumper to bumper people exactly. But she's very right. She's very, very right. And on the platform that we communicate on, we should draw clear lines between the patois and standard English.
You must remember, traffic is also at petrol stations.
Yes, there you go, sir.
And traffic going into the mini marts, what they call them now, the convenience.
The convenience stores. Yeah.
Right. But it's getting a bit windy now. I was checking on some friends over by Copacabana and those sides, but not getting through to them. But it was windy earlier on, and even over in Greater Portmore, I checked with a brother and said it was windy over that side, and I saw a video of somebody saying that there's a lot of wind in Elsha, and the sea was really roaring. But I don't know if that has changed. But so far, it's still overcast in the corporate area, and a little. If you're near mango trees, you'll see maybe some breeze blowing and all of that, but not strong winds though. And I guess a few cars are there on the road, but not much to count. You cannot, very few. A lot of cars are parked. And I wonder also, those vehicles that are, oh, by the way, George, it is important not to, there's a gully that runs between, if you're in the Norbrook area there, like it runs between, carry back to the short of the road area there. It's a gully, takes you through, what's it called, Cherry Gardens. I don't remember the name of that ford, but that's not one that you should try and cross. Right? It's really, the current is really strong in that particular area, and also going through Charlton. The current is also strong in that area. So if it gets heavy, don't try to attempt. All right? Don't be what they call it, Mr. Invincible or Miss Invincible. So leave those alone. But so far, it is okay. All right? Until then. I don't know any more reports after this, George.
Sure, I'm sure we'll check in with you for the rest of the day. Because you're a man of the road, you know. You can't stay home. Yeah? Is that a science for the road? So we'll check in with you, all right?
No, I'm off for the road.
I hear you, sir.
I come out.
All right, Lolo, thank you very much. Please stay home, yeah? The authorities say if you don't have to be out there, you should stay in. If you're not a member of the essential services going to the scene of an issue to resolve, stay home. All right, after this, front page. Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're tuned in to our discussion segment, The Front Page. Of course, on the front page, our focus, Hurricane Melissa, and the system has intensified to a Category 5 storm, expected to make landfall in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth. So a hurricane warning remains in effect for the island as Hurricane Melissa intensifies to a powerful Category 5 storm. It is expected to make landfall in southwestern Jamaica as a powerful major hurricane early Tuesday. The 5 a.m. bulletin from the Met Service says additional strengthening is forecast Monday, with some fluctuations in intensity likely before landfall. At 4 a.m., the center of Hurricane Melissa was located 130 miles southwest of Kingston, or 104 miles south of Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth. It was moving toward the west near 6 kilometers per hour or 3 miles per hour. The Met Service says a slow turn toward the northwest and north is expected throughout the day, followed by a northeastward acceleration beginning on Tuesday. One of the communities in Hurricane Melissa's path, Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth, residents there are understandably quite anxious as the area was devastated by Hurricane Beryl last year. And we're being joined this morning by Lead Farm and Technical Director, Treasure Beach Hydroponic Farmers, Hopton Singh, social entrepreneur, head of the Breads Foundation, and chairman of Jake's Hotel, Jason Hensel. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning, to be honest. Good morning, yes.
That sounds like Jason. Good morning, Hopton.
Yes, good morning, folks. Thanks for having me. Yes, we're anxious too, because we had a project in Treasure Beach, in the Beacon vicinity of Beacon community, and we lost 30,000 square feet of greenhouse space last year. So the anxiety is understandable.
Mm-hmm. And I remember you coming on Hopton and saying that in terms of your recovery, you weren't able to get back to where you're supposed to be in terms of that facility.
No, it's a pile of scrap metal. It's like 30 tons of twisted steel and insect screen and plastic and wires and cables. It's literally scrap metal.
But you did indicate that you had two facilities.
Right. So the one in the vicinity of Holland Bamboo, we did minor repairs, and we were able to start a crop within 4 days of the hurricane. It was a summer crop, so traditionally summer crops don't do as well as winter crops, but we were trying to seize the opportunity and get back into production in the shortest possible time. We had a fairly decent summer crop, but not the best. Then after that, we planted the winter crop for 2024, 2025. That was good also. But this summer was the first chance we had since the hurricane last year, because of the crop planning and because we wanted to capitalize on the opportunities to do the necessary repairs and upgrades properly. Because number one, we were at the coverings on the greenhouse were at the end of their lifespan. So this year, for the past 4 months, we've changed the coverings on the structures. We've power wash and sanitized every single thing. We've purchased fertilizer to last us until we start to harvest sometime in December. We have a crop that's 12 days old, and it's starting to blossom. At 12 days old, the plants are about a foot tall. And let me tell you something. Anxious is not the word. I'm telling you, I can't even find the words.
Go ahead.
But to have this again, but to have a hurricane come again and wreck everything that we've spent the last year rebuilding, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah. And I mean, what sort of price, money value are we looking at, Hopton, for all the work that has been done?
For the past 4 months, we've spent $3 million. $3 million just getting ready because the scheduled renovation.
Hello?
The greenhouse coverings have a lifespan. Every 4 or 5 years we have to change them. So between labor and materials and purchasing seeds and propagating materials, we've spent $3 rock-solid million in getting ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jason, are you there? Morning, Jason. Okay, well, we're going to take a break and come back and reconnect with Jason Hensel. We have Hopton Singh online talking to business people in South St. Elizabeth who are not looking forward to the next 24, 36 hours any at all.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
7:32.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 21 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Every school is free of unhealthy, ultra-processed products. You know, those high in salt, fats, and sugar. If only that weren't a dream. The reality is that many children have an unhealthy diet at school, and 23% of them are overweight or obese. This can lead to hypertension, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Let's protect our children's right to health with a policy for schools that prevents unhealthy food marketing and ensures access to nutritious foods. The time is now. Let's implement the National School Nutrition Policy. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Need a little extra this Christmas? Infinity Cooperative Credit Union has the solution with our Infinity Merry Money promotion. Whether it's sprucing up your home, upgrading your car, or covering holiday expenses, we've got you. From October 10 to December 15, borrow $500,000 or more and you can be entered to win your share of $500,000 in cash prizes. Get the money you need and make your Christmas truly merry with Infinity Merry Money promotion. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Tracking Hurricane Melissa. Stay with Nationwide 90 FM.
7:34. Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. Speaking to two businessmen in South St. Elizabeth who are preparing for Hurricane Melissa, Category 5 storm, packing powerful winds, monstrous winds to be fair, and rain like you've never seen. Up to 30 inches of rain, the Met Service says, is forecast to be dumped on this island by Hurricane Melissa. I have with us Hopton Singh and Jason Hensel. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. I'm hoping that this hurricane is going to damage we're seeing on our screens, because this looks like something we've never seen. I called from our councillor last night about the evacuation notice, and I would have contacted the head of ODPM and Minister Vaz and our MP Floyd Green, and to verify where the boundaries were to move persons from the shore. Buses would have been offered. The police went around with a loudspeaker to the various districts, but very few people are in the shelters. Very few people are to take up that offer. We know what we're up against. We've been preparing, but the truth of the matter is, this is going to be a much, much stronger and more dangerous storm than Beryl. And, I'm just asking everybody in Jamaica and across the world to pray for Treasure Beach and St. Elizabeth and Jamaica at this time. We are as prepared as we can be. I've been in touch with the mayor this morning, and the control center at the fire station in Black River has been operationalized.
Jason, are you hearing us? I hear that the call dropped. Now, looking at the map of South St. Elizabeth, looking at Ocean View, Calabash Bay, Treasure Beach towards the west, and then Calabash Bay boat landing site up to Calabash Guest House and Cottages, Docks on the Bay, Doubloon Villa, beyond Sunset Grill and Bar, Delvin Shop, Jack Sprat Bed and Breakfast, which is just north of Jason Hensel's hotel, Dougie's Bar, and all the way across. All those areas, all those business places I've mentioned are in the line of fire. Even El Solvida Tours, Treasure Bay Guest House, Treehouse Villa, Kingfisher Plaza, all of those are in the line of fire. Two locations, the Jack Sprat Restaurant and Bar, the Jack Sprat Bed and Breakfast, Fisherman's Bar, Indiana's Guest House, Magic Tree, Treasure Beach, all of those places in the line of fire on this day and maybe until Wednesday, based on what the Met Service is saying. Jason, are you back with us? Are you hearing us?
Yes, I'm back with I see the storm surge has come up, and for persons who don't know what storm surge is, when the level of the entire sea goes up and you have the waves on top of that now. So, the beaches have started to see some erosion. Thank goodness, I must say, all the boat captains and the fishermen were very well prepared and pushed, for the most part, pushed their boats to higher ground. There are some which I wish were higher, to be honest, but they did their best in the time that they had. Our residents have tied down their roofs, plied up what they could. And right now it's really just waiting it out. We know that next 36 to 48 hours is going to be a very defining moment for Treasure Beach. There's a lot of goodwill out there for us. And, we just have to stay strong. We know we can get through this. I must say that I think the government and the utilities seem prepared. I know that Minister Vaz, is a no-nonsense minister, hold them accountable. So I do believe that we're going to get the swift response that we deserve directly after the hurricane.
What about
in whatever areas are affected?
What about you and your staff? Your staff at Jake's, Jason. What do you know about how well they've prepared for what's coming?
So they are prepared. There are a few staff who opted to stay across the road.
We're having a challenge. All right. As you could expect, listeners, viewers, we're going to have trouble making connections down that side. Yeah. So we're going to try to get Jason again. Meanwhile, Hopeton, are you there? Are you hearing us?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah. So Hopeton, as things stand now, where you are, you've done the best you can. You've despaired. We are despairing with you. Tony and I were talking off air about the conversation we had last year post burial and what you reported and what you are facing now. Did you do all you can this time to protect whatever you can protect as you await Melissa's arrival?
Yes. Obviously, we've had a lot of practice with getting prepared for a hurricane. So when there's a threat of a storm or a hurricane, essentially it's just securing essential systems like our computers and our sensors, and make sure everything's nothing's blown around, essentially. And how we've kept the farm, that becomes relatively easy because we take a proactive approach where we make sure the surroundings are clean all the time. So we're not scrambling when there's a hurricane or a storm to get prepared. So essentially we're as prepared can be. I don't think we've left any stone unturned as it relates to that.
Hopeton, I want to ask you about, because I get from what you're saying to us that there's a sense of helplessness that you are grappling with.
Well, I suspect you detect that from my tone. That's exactly how I feel. Because we're in a crop protection structure that's made of insect screen and a plastic roof. We take the roof off, we take the sides off, we lose our crops, and it's not like we can salvage those materials. It's not like we can reuse them by the dynamics of how they're installed and tensioned and trimmed. It's hard to reuse them, so it's a significant.
Hopeton?
I think Hopeton conked out as well. See if we can get Hopeton back, Michelle. Jason, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I hear you. Jason, I just reeled off a list of business places down your side. Several of them. I'm looking at the map here, the Google map, and there are businesses littered with businesses. How based on your conversations with your colleagues in business, what are your colleagues saying to you about what they've done to prepare for what's coming?
My colleagues seem very well prepared in that they've battened down their properties. They have water supply, they've serviced their generators. They're as prepared as possible. I have to say that. Remember that burial is only 16 months that we've seen the passing of burial. So this is fresh in people's minds. And we know that this is a much more powerful system, being a Sector 5, and that it is directed to turn and make landfall in Treasure Beach. We're right in the crosshairs of it. And as I said, I do commend the government for for naming it evacuation area and trying to get people out. But to be fair, I did think that very few people would take it up. But I'm glad that the offer was made and those shelters are still open to accept people. The window is closing. I think we probably have about 3 hours left before the roads start to get, serious flooding and probably even trees being down. I don't think there's 8 to 5 hours left. At lunchtime today, I don't think anybody should be on the road.
And Jason, are there any residents there in Treasure Beach who have not fully recovered from Beryl that special arrangements have been made for in terms of accommodation and all of that?
Well, some people are strong after Beryl because they would have decked their roofs. Some people would have built back a good roof, or some people would have just patched things up, right? So we have various levels of readiness when it comes to persons after Beryl. The truth of the matter is we really have to focus on the people along the coastline. Beryl came from behind off of the hill, off of the Santa Cruz, so we made landfall in Portland Cottage and came around. So we got a lot more roof damage than I'm expecting. But, people have moved into with loved ones. People have moved into with friends on higher ground, up in Southfield and Top Hill, and even as far as Mandeville in some cases. I think what is making people so anxious is that there's a long lead-up time and that the course keeps shifting. So we saw where it was going to make landfall in Kingston, and then Alligator Pond, and now Treasure Beach. So you can understand the anxiety, the nervousness that people have.
Do you have guests at Jake's, Jason?
We have 2 guests at Jake's that we've evacuated this morning up to higher ground. 2 guests from England, a young lady named Rachel and her 80-year-old mother. We offered for them to leave earlier. Rachel is very deep-rooted in the community here and wanted to stay. But this morning I came and got them and took them to higher ground up by Round Hill. Actually, I put them in my personal home to keep them safe.
I'm looking at a business here, Captain Dennis Boat Tours, smack on the coast, Jason, and I'm fretting for that business.
Yeah, Dennis is one of the community leaders here down here, and he would have been not only secured his own assets, but he's...
All right, we're going to have to do another refresh.
Yes.
Hopeton. Yeah.
Hopeton?
Yes, I'm still here.
Thank you so much for reconnecting with us. I was getting reports earlier from some of the folks down there in St. Elizabeth about the electricity being out. Are you getting those reports? What's happening in your area in relation to electricity?
Yeah, probably about an hour ago now we've lost electricity.
And which area are you in St. Elizabeth?
In the vicinity of Holland Bamboo.
So we are hearing Jamaica Public Service about electricity lost there in Holland Bamboo, Hopeton is saying, as well as Malvern. There's Rose Hall. I'm hearing about Junction, Prospect, and the eastern parts of St. Elizabeth going back to South Manchester, where the folks are without light, no electricity. And we were also hearing from folks in Malvern about some wobbly light posts. So we're going to try to get the exact location for that and bring that information to you there at JPS.
Oh, Hopeton, I want to thank you this morning. We're going to check in with you as best as we can over the next few days, and we hope for the best, Hopeton.
Yes, we're praying. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hopeton.
It can't be easy. After the break, I'll read for you, listeners, a message I got from the Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth talking about residents of specific communities who must evacuate now.
Original, spicy, or barbecue. This on a normal sandwich. A Bird Shack fried chicken bring the best. Hot, crispy, juicy, best chicken sandwich ever. Come get yours in Montego Bay and Ocho Rios.
The time brought to you by Birchak Fried Chicken is
7:47.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 21 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
It's the Answers Big 50% off store-wide sale. Get 50% off from Answers Gifts and Home Center and Answers for Children. Get 50% off in every store from now till Saturday, November 1st. Answers Big 50% off store-wide sale.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated warm staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best, because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy.
Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Important notice from Teleperformance Jamaica. Due to the impact of Tropical Storm Melissa, our offices will remain closed until further notice. The safety and well-being of our employees is our top priority. Team members are asked to remain indoors, stay in contact with their supervisors, and monitor official updates. We look forward to resuming normal.
This is a public service announcement from the Jamaica Trade Board. The Jamaica Trade Board Limited, JTBL, wishes to advise the public that their offices will remain closed until further notice due to the impending passage of Hurricane Melissa. We encourage everyone to take the necessary precautions and remain safe during this time. Please continue to monitor our official social media pages for further updates. That was a public service announcement from the Jamaica Trade Board.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning at 7:50. Just a couple of things to go to before we join our guest, the Labour and Social Security Minister and Member of Parliament for South East Clarendon, Pernell Charles Jr. Just getting a report, Tona, of a 6.5 magnitude earthquake in the Leeward Islands. So it's all happening in this part of the world where natural disasters are concerned. 6.5 earthquake in the Leeward Islands. We're going to get some more information on that. Thank you, Gillian, for that. And then I was to tell the listeners that the Member of Parliament for South West St. Elizabeth shared something to say that residents of the following communities are urged to take steps to evacuate now, immediately. Great Bay. Residents of Great Bay, evacuate now. Residents of Treasure Beach, evacuate now. Billy's Bay residents, evacuate now. Those in Fort Charles, evacuate now. Same thing for residents of Pondside. Same thing for residents of Parrotty. You're all being urged by the authorities to evacuate now. The message says transportation is being provided for those in need. Please contact 876-965-2740. Let me repeat that landline. 876-965-2740. There's also a mobile phone line, 876-570-6269. 876-570-6269. That's a message for residents of Great Bay, Treasure Beach, Billy's Bay, Fort Charles, Pondside, Parrotty in St. Elizabeth, The word is that you are to evacuate now. Also, residents of Galleon Beach, you're also urged to evacuate now. Galleon Beach residents, evacuate now. The 2 phone numbers, 876-965-2740, 876-570-6269. Call those numbers now to coordinate your transportation out of your communities. Do so now.
And on that note of evacuation, George, at 7:15 this morning, the government issued evacuation orders under the Disaster Risk Management Act, the DRMA. And in a statement we have on hand here, the government of Jamaica, following advice from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, and in accordance with powers under Section 26(2)(c) of the Disaster Risk Management Act, has issued the Disaster Risk Management Hurricane Melissa Evacuation Order 2025. Evacuation orders have therefore been issued for the following high-risk areas: Port Royal, Kingston; Portland Cottage, Clarendon; Rocky Point, Clarendon; Old Harbour Bay, St. Catherine; Taylorland, Bull Bay, St. Andrew; New Haven, St. Andrew; Riverton City, St. Andrew. The government says all residents in these areas must evacuate immediately. Jamaica Urban Transport Center, or Transit Company rather, JUTC, buses and members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force stand prepared to assist with the relocation efforts. This action follows, again, the Disaster Risk Management Declaration of Threatened Area Tropical Storm Melissa order made on October 24. So 7:15 this morning, evacuation orders were issued by the government for those areas.
And just one more before we go to Minister Charles. I know he's holding. I'm being told that earthquake in the Leeward Islands, and these things are all related, the 6.5 magnitude earthquake felt in the Leeward Islands. I'm being told that it was also felt in the Windward Islands, and that it was particularly hard in Dominica. The Dominicans, they felt it hard, that 6.5 quake, which the center, I'm being told, was in the Leeward Islands, but as well, not far away, the Windward Islands, islands in that part of the Caribbean Sea also felt that quake, particularly in Dominica.
We are being joined now. He's on the line. Member of Parliament for Southeast Clarendon, Pernell Charles Jr. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. Earlier, we were reporting in our newscast about certain areas in Clarendon where people need to move from. What's the status on that?
Well, I'm right now in Portland Cottage. I've been in this area for the last 2 hours. I was in Rocky Point trying to convince persons that the Category 5 is much more dangerous than what they are used to. And so when they think that they can, easily ride it through, that this is not the situation to gamble with your life or the life of your family members. One of the big problems that a lot of persons are having, though, is particularly for the farmers. Farmers are not willing to leave their livestock. And I can understand the situation that they're in, but I have been trying to encourage them to move the livestock out, move the livestock to higher ground, and to evacuate. At the end of the day, the question is really what is most important. And again, for those who are of age and can remember Gilbert, this is by all means and based on the projections going to be harsher than Gilbert. So we have sent down, sorry, 1 second. You're going to be leaving?
So the minister had indicated earlier that 3 buses were being dispatched to Portland Cottage and Rocky Point. We're going to get an update just as you're back with us, MP.
1 second.
All right, so 3 buses being dispatched to those areas, seaside communities prone to flooding.
I'm being asked to call on the Member of Parliament for J.C. Hutchinson's old constituency of North West St. Elizabeth to ask Andrew Morris about the condition in Newmarket, Ginger Hill and Pisgah. Yeah, those three communities precisely, Pisgah, Ginger Hill, and Newmarket. Andrew Morris, your constituents are asking, well, who don't live in there, they haven't been hearing from relatives, and they want to get an update on what's happening in those three communities, particularly given the nature of things in those communities during Hurricane Storm.
Yes.
May I stay back with us?
Yes, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Right,
let me tell you something. We're having a serious difficulty getting the importance of evacuating to be settled in the minds of some of the persons who are here. So some of the younger ones just do not appreciate what's coming, and it's not difficult for me to understand their frustration or their anxiety, because if they leave everything that they have and they come back and there's nothing, what do they do? But it is better that you're able to come back and restart than to stay and die. And I've been trying to preach this from about 5:30 this morning. Because where I am right now, when I look to my left, and nothing has really started, the sea is at the level of the road and already ready to come over on the road. Within 1 hour of rainfall, this will be impossible. There will be no getting to you if you're in this area. So even if you survive it, the difficulty is going to be that you will be cut off and you will not be able to receive any support. So again, I just want to make an appeal. I understand how challenging it is for you to leave your things, to leave your animals. I get it. Believe me, I do. I'm here. I hear it. I feel it. But there is nothing more important than you surviving. I pray for the people in Treasure Beach. I mean, between St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and Clarendon, we have had it in the last year, right? So, it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in the eye of the storm or on the middle or outer bands. At Category 5, the hit is going to be devastating. So, please, again, Portland Cottage, if there's anybody listening, as I said to the group of more than 20 people that I just saw here, an evacuation order means that it is no longer your decision. It means that the government has stepped in and said, this area is under such high risk that you must leave the area. And we're providing support, but at some point, those drivers will have to go home.
And that's what I was going to ask. What's the cutoff time for the units?
Right now, I can't tell you what the cutoff time is, but I can tell you, when the JUTC driver that I just left, going into Rocky Point, these drivers are heroes because, like me, they also have family. And where are they? They have been out here from yesterday, just trying their best. And they said to me, if they have to come one more time, they will come. But at some point, they too are going to have to batten down. Mm-hmm. So the appeal is to try and get out now while we can get you out. Because we don't want a situation like Hurricane Ivan, right exactly where I am right now, in Portland Cottage Main Street. During Hurricane Ivan, there was a similar evacuation order made. And that was a weaker hurricane than what is coming now. A family who stayed here was attempting to leave, to vacate their house because it was flooded out. And in that attempt, every single one of them perished. Mm. We do not want a repeat of these situations. It is not the time to take any chances or to gamble. And again, if you're listening to me and you're in the area, this is not my effort to make you scared. It is my effort to make you be informed so you can take action now. Because the reality is, we are going to lose some houses. We will have a lot of damage. We may lose some animals. We don't want to lose your life. I'm trying to make some calls to my team in Kingston, because another one of the problems we're having is to make sure that the resources we have are also safe. So we're working with JDF to move some of the things from our warehouse, because that warehouse, you know, is consistently flooded on Marcus Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing a lot of work while we can before this really starts to blow. And so it's important for those who are listening, you must contribute to the effort to protect yourself and the country. Get out while you can.
And finally, any updates on the shelters, the number of people in the shelters?
Well, the last time when I left the Vertex shelter, we had more than 150. I'm sure it's up to about 200 now. We were receiving, or to receive, about 150 cots from Adpen. The Cross primary shelter in Palmer's Cross had, I think, more than 15 persons. The Bustamante shelter had a couple of persons. I'm not sure the exact number, maybe around 50 or more. But by now, those shelters should have doubled.
Mm-hmm.
And again, one of the difficulties is that you have a lot of older persons, for instance, in Rocky Point, who it's not that they don't want to move, it's just very difficult for them to move. And so some of their family members are also staying with them to protect them. So that's one of the things on my mind now. Those persons who want to move, but it's just logistically difficult to get them out for whatever reason. Those are the persons that within the next 2 hours that I'm going to be focusing on to see if we can get them out. The others, I mean, we can do no more than we have done in terms of forcing persons. A lot of the persons here are fisher folk. They know what the risk.
The phone line went.
Is it that we're already having challenges?
Yes,
the
because
phone lines,
and we're having
St. Elizabeth, Clarendon now.
Power issues as well. So with the GPS and cables, so it's a combination of factors.
Fuel.
Just before we break for a cost, Jamaica, just to repeat, and these things, I'm no weather expert or environmental expert, but based on what you're taught in schools, you know the relationships. So we are bracing for a Category 5 hurricane here in Jamaica, and it's supposed to leave us, and Haiti is next in line. A 6.5 magnitude earthquake in the Leeward Islands, and we're also hearing that it's impacted the Windward Islands as well. I just did a little check. The biggest earthquake in the history of the Leeward Islands was a 7.5 magnitude quake on October 8, 1974. The next biggest, 4.4, which happened in this year, March 29, 2025. So this 6.5, if it is accurate, would be the second biggest earthquake in the history of the Leeward Islands. The Leeward Islands include Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, British Virgin Islands, Guadeloupe, Saba, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, USVI, US Virgin Islands, St. Martin, and St. Eustatius. The Windward Islands, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, and TNT. Of course, we know about the Windwards and the Leewards from cricket, regional cricket, when those group of islands, the smaller ones, come together to field teams. But it is significant that we have this event in that part of the Caribbean. Leeward Islands, Windward Islands, 6.5 earthquake, one of the biggest on record in that side of the Caribbean, while Jamaica is preparing to be hit by a Category 5 hurricane. Must be related. Let's take the break and come back. Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me Kendall. Well, it's out. Kendel. Give me Kendall.
Another quality product from the Carimed Group.
Just give me Kendall.
The time by Kendall Foods. The taste of quality is
8:06.
Success powered by learning. The temperature brought to you by Sandals Corporate University. Come grow with us is
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 21 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside. It's Across Jamaica This Morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Monday morning, I'm Tawna Thomas. All residents of 7 low-lying and flood-prone communities in the southern parts of the island have been formally ordered to evacuate immediately. The communities are Port Royal Kingston, Portland Cottage Clarendon, Rocky Point Clarendon, Old Harbour Bay St. Catherine, Taylorland Bull Bay St. Andrew, New Haven St. Andrew, and Riverton City St. Andrew. Buses operated by the Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC, along with the Jamaica Constabulary Force, are prepared to assist with the relocation efforts. The government issued the Disaster Risk Management Hurricane Melissa Evacuation Order 2025 earlier on Monday. This on advice from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, and in accordance with powers under Section 26(2)(c) of the Disaster Risk Management Act. The action follows the Disaster Risk Management Declaration of Threatened Area Tropical Storm Melissa order made on October 24. ODPEM says the evacuation order remains in force for as long as the Declaration of Threatened Area order is in effect. The public is advised that ignoring an evacuation order is a criminal offense under the law. Now, the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, suspended regular service on Sunday in response to the threat posed by Hurricane Melissa. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says the JUTC is providing special support in transporting medical personnel to the Kingston Public Hospital and stands ready to respond to similar requests from the public health sector. He made the disclosure during a press briefing at the National Emergency Operations Center on Sunday. Meanwhile, Minister Vaz advised that the JUTC has responded to 4 evacuation calls since last Saturday. He indicated that buses were dispatched to Flagaman in St. Elizabeth, Old Harbour Bay in St. Catherine, and Port Royal and Raytown in the corporate area. He's urging at-risk residents to take advantage of the opportunity to relocate to safety. Finally, across Jamaica, the National Works Agency, NWA, says the country's drainage infrastructure will be severely tested by Hurricane Melissa. Manager of Communications and Customer Services Stephen Shaw says although there have been improvements over the past several months, the country's drains weren't built for the sustained heavy rainfall expected.
There are going to be capacity issues based on what we have been told. We know that we have been advised that we may get as much as 25 inches of stormwater flows. That's quite a bit. When you think of some of our drains, some of our culverts are 18 inches in terms of diameter. We have bigger drains. We have been making the infrastructure newer in terms of the works that we have undertaken in recent times, whether through Spark or CAPEX or other, the maintenance of secondary roads program.
Meanwhile, Mr. Shaw says that certain roads will be given priority attention following the passage of the hurricane.
The roads to the airports, the seaports, these are crucial. We have to ensure that they are opened as quickly as possible because, supplies will have to come into the country. People have to come into the country, technical experts and so on. Hospitals, those corridors must be opened as quickly as possible as well. The facility to the road to Petrojam, that has to be opened. The roads leading to the NWC installations because people will need water, and we have to make sure that if there's an issue with a road leading to a NWC installation, that we have that cleared as quickly as possible.
Stephen Shaw, Manager of Communications and Customer Services at the National Works Agency. And that's it for Across Jamaica for this Monday morning.
This is an important announcement from National Commercial Bank. NCB advises that due to the passage of tropical storm Hurricane Melissa, some ABM will become unavailable. NCB customers are encouraged to visit ABM attached to NCB branches or use the NCB mobile app and online banking where possible. Visit them on social media at NCB Jamaica for more updates. Please stay safe. That was an important announcement from National Commercial Bank, NCB. This is an important announcement from J. Ray & Nephew. J. Ray & Nephew Limited wishes to make this statement regarding the threat posed by Hurricane Melissa. Due to the severe weather conditions, which include intense bouts of rainfall expected to impact Jamaica, J. Ray & Nephew Limited will be temporarily closing all its sites to ensure the safety of its employees and the public. As soon as it is safe to do so, J. Ray & Nephew will provide updates on the reopening of its offices on its social media pages and via public service announcements on radio. In the meantime, J. Ray & Nephew Limited encourages everyone to stay safe. That was an important announcement from J. Ray & Nephew Limited.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group? Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated one staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy.
Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
This is an important notice from Teleperformance Jamaica. Due to the impact of Tropical Storm Melissa, our offices will remain closed until further notice. The safety and well-being of our employees is our top priority. Team members are asked to remain indoors, stay in contact with their supervisors, and monitor official updates. We look forward to resuming normal operations as soon as conditions improve.
Welcome to Inside Customs, brought to you by the Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
Welcome again to Inside Customs here on Nationwide 90 FM. It's a program brought to you by the Jamaica Customs Agency, JCA, working to make your life better, to make the things that you want to bring into the island, that you pay a fair rate and that you have no bureaucratic hurdles in paying what is due to HRM. Well, the HRM the H is still relevant. It's not Her Majesty anymore, it's His Majesty, but it's really Andrew and Faithful Revenue on behalf of the people of Jamaica. There you go. Albert Anderson, the Director of Compliance at the JCA, is with me once again, as he was last week. The KC man was early and on time. Well, early last week, on time this week. Thank you again, Albert.
Yeah, thank you for having me again.
Good.
George.
All right. So last week we discussed several things. Music to the ears of returning residents to tell them that if you're a Jamaican who's been living outside the country for at least 3 years and you're going to come home and you want to bring home with you those things that you use every day in your house, your appliances, your furniture, your property, you can do so duty free. All right? Albert, let me just ask you to just restate the highlights, the major points that persons must consider as returning residents who meet the criteria when returning home with their items, and what is the expectation from customs.
Okay, so the highlights I referred to the fact that they should bring the goods in at least 6 months, within 6 months of their permanent return to Jamaica.
Yes.
They should have been working overseas or residing overseas for 3 years or more.
Yeah.
They need to provide proof of their residency overseas. Also, another thing that I did mention last week is that they should also provide proof of their permanent residency in Jamaica.
Yes.
So in terms of land titles, electrical bills, etc. And those are some of the things that are needed in terms of getting...
right. I imagine last week when I listened to you, Albert, I was going to ask it then, but I said, well, save it for this one. I'm sure that there must be something that applies if the total value of what a person is bringing in passes a certain threshold. So, for instance, $5,000 or $10,000. I'm imagining that there's something special that kicks in once that threshold is crossed. First of all, is there a threshold? And second question, what happens when and if that threshold is crossed?
Okay, so there is a threshold, and the threshold is really $5,000.
There you go.
Once the goods that you are importing are returning with exceeds $5,000, then at that point in time, you need a custom broker to facilitate that clearance.
Oh.
All right, so the custom broker would collect your documentation. They would get the items ready in terms of putting those documentation and the relevant information into the ASICUDA. That is a custom system that we use to process all our entries, import-export entries. And then he would inform you of the duties that are payable on the shipment. And then once you pay those duties, custom would do the necessary examinations, and then you can come and collect your shipment or your items.
Right. And one point you made last week I wanted to restate. You're saying that the items that you're bringing home with you as a returning resident, you don't need to have had them for a long time. If you want to go to Target or go to Walmart and buy something brand new to carry back, not a problem.
Not a problem at all. Additionally, I missed this point last week, that your tools of trade are also admissible. So if your job overseas is that you're a disc jockey and you have your turntables and your musical equipment, all of that, you will be allowed to return with those as well.
Yes.
The duty free.
And if I'm a welder, I have a welding plant.
And you have your welding plant, and if you're a teacher and you have your books and all your
technology
gadgets, then you will also. This incentive also applies to persons who go overseas and study as well. So students over the age of 18 who go to college and they are returning, they will be able to carry in a certain amount of items in terms of what they... so we're not expecting you to bring down the fridge and the dresser and all of that, but in terms of your personal stuff, your laptops, you might have bought a little desk or something, those will be facilitated.
Right. So I hear people asking, so George, ask him if this incentive program only applies for people who used to live a big foreign. Or if they are on small island, if they are Trinidad, if they are St. Lucia, if it applies to me as well.
No, man. It applies to any. Once you're overseas, overseas means once you go past the seas of Jamaica, then it would apply to you.
Yes. So Albert, here's the other thing again. When you go online to complete this form, and as you said last week, this is an online process. If you are in the island, you go into JCA and you can sort it out there. But if you're overseas, online. For some people who may have difficulty navigating the online form to complete, is there support on the JCA end for them to complete that form or those forms?
Yes, man, definitely. So what we'd ask you to do is to contact the Returning Residents Unit at the Jamaica Customs Agency. You can either email rru at jca.gov.jm, or you can call 876-922-51408, extension 2523, 2524, 2522, or 2523.
All right, stick up in. Give me the website again, RRU?
RRU at jca.gov.jm.
Yes, and the numbers?
And the numbers again are 922-51408, or extensions 525, 2522, 2523 and 2524.
Very well. All right. How does the JCA deal with the issue of people saying, so we can bring in them duty free? All right, watch the style. I'm going to bring in some things for sell and tell them, say, I'm a house, I'm going to put them in. How you deal with that?
Well, you see, this is one of the challenges that we have, because we have to take, if somebody says to us that we are bringing in these things and we are bringing in them for our personal things, that we have them for our personal use, we will have to honor that obligation that we have. However, if we found that you are actually bringing these items for sale and they are not in terms of your own personal items, it can be considered a breach of the Customs Act, and we can take action, specific action against that. And it may be, more than likely, it would be a penalty for a breach, because you would have made a false statement to Customs on the basis of you saying, these are my personal items, but what you have really brought in is something for resale. All right, so you can be charged under the Customs Act.
I want to give you a practical situation, not to make your life difficult, but I know how people are, so I want to put it to you to see if you can resolve it. So here's the thing. I'm coming back. I've given you documentation, Albert, to say, boy, I'm going to live at 505 Westminster Drive in Spanish Town in Willoughby in St. Catherine, yes? And it's a 3-bedroom house. On my form to come back, I have 6 deep freeze, 2 standing fridge.
All right, so we have there's a limit on how much of each item that you can bring in. So would allow you to bring in 6 deep freeze and 2 standing fridge? No, I want 3-bedroom house. All right, so there's a limit in terms of how much we give you in terms of you get like 2-bedroom sets.
Yes.
2 air conditioning units, etc., etc. We also have to look at how we go about doing these things, because, as you said, it's accessible for persons who want to be involved in fraudulent activities to abuse the system.
Yes.
So on that basis, we have restrictions on how much of each item you can import.
Excellent.
So,
yeah. All right. So the online form again, you say it's straightforward, you believe, but of course you gave the numbers for support for people who may have trouble, and you say items above a certain value, you will need a customs broker if you're gone past the $5,000 mark. Yeah?
Yes.
The other part again, I was wanted to straighten out again the issue of the motor vehicle. I've had my motor vehicle. My motor vehicle is 7 years old. I bought it when I just started working in the States.
Yes.
Is this something I can bring in duty free?
Yeah, no, you cannot bring in motor vehicles duty free. The applicable duties apply. The incentive that is offered is that you can bring a motor vehicle that is up to 10 years old, while currently the restriction is on motor vehicles up to 6 years old.
All right.
So that is the incentive.
I'll give you another tricky one now, Albert. So here's the thing. Now, you said I can bring home my tools of trade.
Yes.
But as a tradesman and a man who works in construction and logistics, I bought 2 little forklifts. Can I bring my forklifts home duty free, because a forklift is what I use in my little business that I had in the United States?
No, because a forklift still qualify essentially under a motor vehicle.
Yes.
You understand? Once a vehicle carries a motor, it's classified as a motor vehicle. So therefore, your forklift wouldn't be considered as a tool of trade. It would be considered a motor vehicle as such. The relevant duty would apply.
Well, listeners, tell your friends, tell anybody who is planning to return and wants to know how it is that they can bring home their personal items that they use for work, which are reasonable items, that there is this returning residence incentives program that they can find out so much more about by going to the Jamaica Customs Agency's website.
I need to change.
Yes.
All right, so in terms of the forklift, it is not considered a motor vehicle.
Yes.
Yes. However, it would not be considered a tool of trade.
Yes.
All right.
So the forklift would not get the motor vehicle treatment,
but it would not be considered a tool of trade.
So you can't bring it home. Even if your business, you own fork, you have to probably sell them before you come back.
Yes, you'd have to pay. It wouldn't be considered a tool of trade.
Excellent, right.
All right.
So there's so much information on this thing. I think it's an excellent program. And guess what? If you want somebody to speak to directly, call down here and ask Mr. Albert. Albert Anderson, the Director of Compliance, he'll be more than happy to give you more information. Right, sir?
Yes, definitely.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Albert, for your time.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me again, Judge.
All right, then. That was Inside Customs, bringing you great information about the work of the Jamaica Customs Agency and how JCA exists to make you pay what you are due to pay and to make your life easy while paying what it is that you are due to pay. That's it. Next week, we'll be back with another program for you.
That was Inside Customs, brought to you by the Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
Are you living with HIV? It's time to access treatment, get back to business, and begin your path to a brighter, healthier future. The time, brought to you by Jamaica AIDS Support for Life, is
8:27.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy, it's all good inside, is
26 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 27 out west in Montego Bay, and in Mandeville, 20 degrees Celsius.
When we go all out, crime and violence get stall out.
The Citizen Security Plan is an all-of-government initiative led by the Ministry of National Security in partnership with the European Union to target the root causes of crime and violence.
Go all out.
Mental health support for the youth.
Go all out.
Working together with students and families to stop crime before it starts. The Citizen Security Plan. Together we can create safer streets and stronger communities. Go to mns.gov.jm to learn how you can play your part.
Tracking Hurricane Melissa. Stay with Nationwide 90 FM.
.29 on this Monday morning, Monday, October 27, 2025. This is Nationwide This Morning. My name is George.
And I'm Tonna.
All right. The Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth is joining us now. He's also the man in charge of the Agriculture and Fisheries Ministry. Floyd Green, good morning, sir.
Morning, George. Morning, Tonna. Morning to all your listeners and viewers.
How is home? How is the constituency? What's happening there? You need to tell us about. Well, start with the evacuations first, because I read a notice on your behalf earlier about some evacuations that must take place immediately.
Yeah, so we have set up our emergency operations center from Tuesday, and I've been having regular meetings led by the mayor, who is in charge of our local disaster management committee. And clearly we have been consistently tracking the trajectory of the storm and the hurricane to see what measures need to be put in place. Unfortunately, over the last 4 or 5 forecasts, it appears set to make landfall around St. Elizabeth, close to Treasure Beach, Black River area. And as such, I'm working with ADPEM and the local disaster management team. Last night, we started putting out notices for communities that should evacuate. Clearly, we're very concerned about our coastal communities, and as such, we would have worked with the police, worked with the rural bus service, and issued advisories for people in areas like Great Bay, Calabash Bay, Treasure Beach, Billy's Bay, Fort Charles, Pondside, Paraty, to take immediate steps to evacuate. We also got some community liaison officers to literally go around from house to house to speak to people. We've seen varying levels of people moving out, and people have taken different approaches. So I think one thing I can say is that people have been taking this hurricane seriously. They recognize the potential significant threat to life and to property, and as such, even before some of the evacuation advisories, people have started to make arrangements with families outside of the area that was most threatened. So in the Treasure Beach, Great Bay, Billy's Bay area, we see a lot of those people making separate arrangements, moving out to stay with families things of that nature. Coming out of Ponset Parity, I think we evacuated about 60 people at my last check. And again, what we did was to work with the rural bus service, who provided 5 buses across the various communities that I mentioned, and to do the transportation. And those persons have been taken to various shelters from Newell to Black River, just in areas that we think are more secure. Since morning, having spoken to the mayor, we have issued advisories. We've already issued advisory for one more community, and that is Galleon Beach. That community is in the Crawford area. Again, one of our coastal communities, and we are now looking at issuing an advisory for the residents of Slipe. Slipe is a community that is borders the Black River, and clearly we are very concerned about not only the rise from the rainfall, but from any storm surges. So we've again spoken with the Minister Vaz and the team, so we're dispatching 3 buses to focus on those areas. Just to repeat, Galleon Beach, Slipe, and we're sending another bus into the Party Ponset area to see anybody else who wants to evacuate. So that has been our focus.
What time is the bus coming? For those listening to us, Minister, wanting to know, what time should they look out for the buses?
So I would say in another hour or so. The drivers have already been dispatched. There are numbers that people can call, and I'll just pull up the numbers to say that people can reach out to if they are in need of that transportation. Clearly, you know, what we do, again, we have some community liaisons that we try to work with. So the numbers are 876-965-2740, and just to let people know, that is the number for Emergency Operations Center. So while we're giving it out in relation to transportation, in this instance, it's one of the numbers that you can use in case of emergency. Our Emergency Operations Center staff, with our firefighters, who are our first responders, police, people from tourism, ODPEM. So that is 876-965-2740, and there's also a cell number that people can utilize, which is 876-570-6269, and you'll get our disaster coordinator on that line on this slide, who has been really doing a wonderful job just trying to stay on top of everything, including the shelters.
And what about the homeless community in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, you know, we do have a drop-in center in Black River that they utilize. And there's a drop-in center also in Santa Cruz that they utilize. Normally, thankfully, this time, the community spirit in St. Elizabeth kind of steps in, and people, as far as possible, try to provide a safe shelter for our homeless people. So, you know, we haven't had a big challenge. Clearly, we've also been keeping an eye on our disabled community. Our first 2 persons that made their way to 2 separate shelters, having been relocated by community members who are aware of their challenging conditions without being visually impaired persons. So one was moved to the Black River Primary, that shelter, and one was moved to the Mountainside Basic. And again, this was done by community members who have also done a good job of trying to ensure that they have some resources to be as comfortable as possible in the shelters.
The question arises, Minister, about the emergency number you gave just now, the primary number for contact to coordinate transport out of the areas that ought to be evacuated. Is it as coordinated to have shifts so that if I call the number at 3 a.m. for assistance, somebody will pick up that telephone?
No, so George, I think we have to appreciate the nature of the emergency that we're treating with. The transportation cannot be provided around the clock.
No, man, not the transportation. You said the number is for the emergency. Yes.
100%, George. 100%. That is staff 24 hours. Right, so that's an emergency center. There's always somebody there to answer that number. We utilize our firefighters extensively. That is where the headquarters of the emergency center is. So yes, that number can be called at 3 a.m. if you have an emergency, if you unfortunately are seeing, the rising waters, call that number. That is a 24-hour line that you will get somebody at all times.
People would have heard the Desmond McKenzie say that, they should put their emergency documents together, their most important documents, and leave for the shelter with. But I'm certain other people listening will be saying, well, I never can carry my Xbox, I never can carry my PS5, this, that, my most important or expensive small appliances or electronics. Should I walk with that? What do you advise those of your constituents moving to shelter to take with them?
Based on the protocols, George, it's really to bring with you your most critical documents. Clearly, if you have food items that, can tide you over for a few days, it's also advisable to bring that, and clothes. Outside of that, no. I understand it's very difficult to leave at home, things that you've worked very hard to procure over the years. But, I always recount the story after Hurricane Beryl as I was moving through and clearly looking extremely depressed when I saw the damage. And a lady said to me, boy, MP, come on, fix your face. You can't look so. And I said, boy, but look at this. And she said, boy, MP, once we have life, we have hope. So I say to everybody, focus on the preservation of life during this time. I don't have to tell my constituents about seriousness, because having been through Beryl recently, everybody appreciates how dangerous these storms can be. Beryl passed us as a category 4. It never came on land, which means that the most sustained forces were not brought to bear on us, but yet we saw what it did. This Hurricane Melissa is now at a category 5 and is scheduled to come on land, bringing on land the worst that it has. So I say to everybody, let us focus on all of those items after. Let us just ensure that we get through this alive, and then we can build back together. And
just before you go, Minister, you said earlier that if you have a little food that can assist your stay, you should bring it. That's not you saying that there isn't food at the shelter, because some people will hear that.
Oh, no. That's not. That's just normally the ODPEM protocols that they put out, that people can walk items. Clearly, if you have your medication, you walk with your medication, right? If you have special dietary needs, you walk with those things. But based on my discussions with the disaster coordination team, based on my discussions with the minister, and he has said it, provisions have been made across the various shelters. And clearly, as we activate more shelters, as people go out, provisions will be made. So we're not saying that.
The last thing before you go, the issue of security, because it is a real thing. Those who've been in shelters say, George, when you're there, you can't but fret about the safety of your premises when you're not there, especially in the period immediately after the worst has passed, but you're still at the shelter. If it is that the authorities could assure us that there'll be, some security patrols just to ensure that those who aren't supposed to be moving things out of spaces aren't doing so, what can you say to your constituents on that?
So just to say a couple of things. Definitely, we are working with the police, and the police have been even in these. And let me just pause, George, to really just commend our essential services. I think sometimes, we take for granted they leave their own families and they're out there trying to protect us and ensure that things are okay. So the police are fully activated, and they also help us lead out these evacuation exercises. So I say that to say they're fully aware of the areas that people may be leaving, and they do pay more attention to those areas to ensure safety. Thankfully, and I'll say this because thankfully, having gone through Beryl, having seen communities that saw significant devastation, that houses were wide open, literally, doors off, roof off, we never had any reports of people going in and any looting and any, stealing what, So we expect that to hold, especially in this difficult time. But we're not taking it for granted. The police are out, are mobilized, and we normally get some support from the JDF. But I know as they look at the trajectory, as they assess which area will be hit most, I know that they will provide some additional support.
All right, so Great Bay residents, Treasure Beach residents, Billy's Bay residents, Fort Charles residents, Pondside, Parati, Galleon Beach. Am I missing anyone, Minister, before you go?
Yes, and no Slipe. We're saying to persons in Slipe that it would make sense to evacuate now because we are worried about the rising levels, especially of the Black River, and we're going to make some transportation available for that.
Thank you this morning. All the best.
All right, thank you.
Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth, Turner, Floyd Green. You were telling me about some reports you were getting of power outages in some parts of the parish.
Yes, in Malvern and Rose Hall and Junction and the eastern sections of the parish heading back to South Manchester. Yeah, the people have no electricity. And those reports were, some of them from last night, like gone, and then this morning as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting some of the preparations you have to make when a system is coming. I saw images, videos of people seasoning up all of their meat.
Which makes sense.
Cook it out.
Yes, man. Yes.
Because when the power goes, all that spoils.
Yeah, you remind me of you remember one day I won a chicken in the quiz.
You did.
I remember seeing the chicken in the fridge, in the freezer, yesterday. When you start out that chicken before.
George,
no, cook it
that needs to be baked, fried, something.
Yeah, we even need it pronto. Let's take a break and come back.
Grace is giving shoppers discounts on over 20 of your favorite Grace products when you cash out at participating supermarkets.
The time by Grace Good Move is
8:44.
This is Deposit Insurance in a minute. Under the JDIC, business accounts are insured separately from the owner's personal accounts up to 1.2 million.
Hold on there. So my little shop money and my little savings money insured separately?
As long as your savings and business accounts are in a bank or building society.
Well, that's not bad.
To learn more about how deposit insurance works, visit the JDIC website at www.jdic.org or follow on Facebook, Instagram, and X at JDIC Jam.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated warm staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy.
Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
Everybody needs a helping hand, somebody to understand. In the end, we're all human. For people living with HIV, no discrimination. Here to support them through. Respect you as usual. Got to protect them too. Whether your friend or your family, somebody in your community. People living with HIV. Protect, accept, and respect people living with HIV. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Time to lend a hand to life.
God's great big family. And the truth, you know love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day. Just you and me.
So Marcia Favor says, George, I want to come and cook I need to come and cook the chicken for you. She threw some shade, but we're not going to say the last part. My George, I'm going to come and cook your meals. Boy, Marcia, I thank you for the offer. There are no lights in Passage Fort. We hear that there is light in Gregory Park. And we're going to get those reports as we go on. But anyway, birthday time and an excellent song to start us off, Tona.
Yes. And celebrating, I hope, still in your house, your birthday today. Let's see who's on the list. Happy birthday going out to Andrea Harrison. Happy birthday as well to Diana Thompson, Nikisha Gordon, Tanja Powell. Happy birthday. Happy birthday as well to Candice Allen, Giselle Waldron, Letty Diamond, Nicole Marie, Anika Bailey. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday as well to Leisha Griffiths, Nikisha Gordon, Sakina Dare. Happy birthday.
Sakina.
Hey to you, Sakina. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday as well to Javette Newsbury. And who is this? Killeen Positively Productive Dennis. Killeen Dennis, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday greetings also going out to is this Rani Prasad Singh Sarju and Dwight Gunning. Happy birthday. Wishing for you guys a good one under the circumstances. Happy birthday.
In the chat, Melissa Williams says, happy birthday to my older niece, Nurse Tamoy Welch over there at the Spanish Town Hospital. Wish you a positive birthday amid all that is happening around you. So Melissa Williams sending happy birthday to her niece, Nurse Tamoy Welch, who's over there working, Spanish Town Hospital. Wishing you a positive birthday, she says, amid all that is happening around you.
Happy birthday.
You know, listeners, viewers, if you have time, you should go on YouTube and watch the making of this song. Listen, Lionel Richie Trang, you know, the man go through some things to put this song together. It was at the height of the Michael Jackson Prince beef.
Oh, wow.
Cheese and peas.
I understand exactly what you mean.
And then Diana Ross, diva personified.
Oh, yeah?
The man go through some trials and tribulations to get all of them in one room and everything. Yeah, it's worth the watch. I watched the making of it. I was stressed out just watching it. No, man, Lionel Richie.
Is that bad?
Lionel Richie deserve a medal to put this together.
And look at the product.
Exactly. No, man. Trust me, that man he's a direct descendant of Job. I'm certain. Yeah, man.
That's hilarious.
Lionel Richie related to Job directly.
I have some more birthdays here. Kenyatta Montgomery sending happy birthday to his sister Marsha K. Gordon. Love you, sis. So happy birthday to you, Marsha K. Gordon. Michael Davidson 38 sending happy birthday to Alia Fraser from Portmore City Mission Church. Happy birthday to you, Alia, from Michael Davidson here in the chat. And Dr. Buck is sending happy birthday to his wife, Teresa Wint. Teresa, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you from your husband, Dr. Buck.
Marcia says, George, I'm launching my product line, Caribbean Nations Foods, Friday, October 31, 7 p.m. in Hamilton, Ontario. I hope you get a good turnout, Marcia, and that you get a strong start to what I hope will be a successful venture, yeah? Yes. You did Paulette Anderson's birthday?
I did not read that one.
She says, happy birthday to my granddaughter, Tash, in Kingston. So, Tash, your grandma, Paulette Anderson, sending happy birthday greetings to you. Carlene Smith says, belated birthday greetings to my friend Christine Beckford in Brighton, St. Elizabeth. Brighton. Manchester United beat up Brighton weekend in the Carolina in the football. And I know you know. Yeah, she says she celebrated on October 26th. So Christine Beckford, Brighton saying to this birthday, your friend Caroline Smith, bigging you up even though your birthday gone.
And Gatty MC sending happy birthday to Marlene Murphy. Marlene Murphy, it's your special day. Happy birthday to you from Gatty MC. And belated happy birthday greetings going out to Robert Clark from Marine Khan here in the chat. So belated happy birthday to you, Robert Clark, from your sister, Marine Khan.
Right, and just before we give you some live shots of parts of the country, Robian posted a message in the group that I think we should share, Tawna. She says, we need to urge people to be more vigilant in the nights especially. Someone got their vehicle stolen in Daytona, Portmore, on Sunday night. She says the man lived on a pathway and park where he usually parks, and they stole his vehicle. When he came back out, it was just nothing. And she says he went to the police to make a report. So amid all of this, the old criminal them just the same. Vandalized Flow Network.
Stole their fuel.
Yeah, thief, thief the diesel aisle. When thief the man car at Daytona, they say, I want police catching you in the accuracy. I want them catching you.
You know, sometimes, George, Kimon and I were having a conversation yesterday about establishments that have boarded up, battened down, and we're saying it's not just about protecting from the winds and rains and all of that. It's looting as well.
The old thief them, man. Yeah. All right, so live camera of Flatbridge. Mr. King has us ready to show you that. So, okay. It's not near the road yet. We've seen worse in just regular rain, Tana.
Yes.
So that is set to change. That picture is set to change, and he's giving us a zoom now, Mr. King. Is you zooming or is auto zoom? Yeah, demo zoom, right. So that's Flatbridge at this point. Live pictures. You have halfway tree King. He's gonna give us halfway tree. Is there a camera in Sam Sharp Square? I've never seen Sam Sharp Square.
I don't think I've seen Sam Sharp Square.
The people might be
I've seen downtown Crossroads.
Yeah. When you say no more than everybody else, they say, oh, they don't have no camera. I want to go here. So this is halfway tree. Nothing. Caroline Smith, no
traffic.
traffic.
A taxi.
Yeah, look like
pro box over there.
Box. Maybe he's a security person driving an unmarked car, you know? Yeah. So that's the Halfway Tree Transport Center. Nothing.
Can we get Crossroads?
Yeah. Make it a Crossroads, my friend.
Yes.
So just looking around at some live images of some usually busy places, especially on a Monday, and nothing. People are taking heed of the warnings and they are tucking in and staying home. All right.
In the meantime, I see Serena Dawkins sending happy birthday to Akeem Dawkins from Dad Desmond, your aunt Keisha, Blossom Rose, and the entire family, sending lots of love from the entire family, wishing you another great year around the sun. So happy birthday to you, Akeem Dawkins, from your fam bam.
Gatty MC says happy birthday to Jamoy Burton. So Jamoy Burton, you're getting a big up this morning. Gatty MC sending happy birthdays to you. All right, so this is Crossroads. So that's some mothers. Oh yeah, right across from Carib. In fact, this camera may be on Carib Building based on how it is panning. So yeah, that's Crossroads. Not much activity. Good. And Moby, let me know this morning, man. Of all places, come Moby behave like them a foreign. Them spend US dollar down there just like how we spend Jamaican money. King said stop that. If you want to lie, I tell you no. Eh? Moby, uno boss and everybody else. Only now have the camera down there. I don't understand. Only on the high rise in Moby. Come on, enough to do better.
God, Judge.
Enough to do better.
Can we get downtown?
It won't cost me.
Oh yeah. Are there? No. Is there anybody? Is there anybody from Moby in the chat?
I can't believe big man thing will be now have a camera we can look at Sam Sharp Square, the city center. Come on, man. What a shame.
Herman is saying shows Ocho. Are there cameras?
Camera there, Ocho?
I don't know.
I'm sure there is. King, punch up the Ocho camera there.
Here they are. The Montagonians, Shandy Hamilton, one Moby George.
Go to the number. Never send one camera call you here. So this is West Parade, downtown Kingston. All right, look at them tap out in there. So them soon gone. Because I don't know, maybe they couldn't take them down in time.
Yeah.
So showing you West Parade and good to see empty streets at this time, pretty much apart from a few people, perhaps emergency workers going about their business. But yeah, this is how it should be. Stay home, stay safe, look out for your family and look out for your neighbor. Now is that time, Ton, as we leave.
Yes. All right, so that's about it for Nationwide this morning. Thank you so much for coming on over and joining us. Those of you who joined on the app or from the website, those of you who are in the YouTube chat area or listening on radio, thank you so much for tuning in and keeping company. Thanks so much to our technical operator and the musical maestro, one Jermaine King. And thanks so much to our super producer, Michelle McCrae Smith, and our editor in the newsroom, Kimon Thompson. Up next, the Consumer Hour with Norgay Banton, and at 10, Cliff Hughes Online. I'm Tana.
And I'm Georgia. Just to say that we're going to set up a camera to show you Kingston Harbour later today. And if me pen have camera, Mobi not have the camera. Explain that to me. Make that make sense.
They're gonna come for you, George.
How do I go fund me if you buy a Mobi camera?
Be quiet. Good morning.
Nothing to do but lift my head.
You just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
I look to you, yeah. And when all my strength is gone, and you I can be strong, I look to you.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
Melissa could become a major hurricane sitting south of Jamaica on the weekend, and that of course is something that we have to pay special attention to. Generally, in terms